Ladies and gentlemen, another day, another play day. It's a day at the ECS Season X, the big season that it's all been building up to. I'm McCready. Joining me today is Hyber, and we have an interesting game coming up today. I mean, it's one that we both woke up and looked at our socials and was surprised about how much conversation was going on. It is, of course, no offense, going up against Sfam Esports.
Two teams that seem to inspire a lot of discussion. I was seeing my Twitter feed pop off like nothing else today. I opened it up and I think I had like 30 notifications at one point. People are talking about these two teams. And I gotta say, there seems to be no real consensus that's been reached so far.
Yeah. Yeah, I've gone through it. It's very much debatable. It's not set that there's a specific team that's going to win this out. So let's take a look at these teams. So no offense, you may not recognize them. SFAM, sorry, you may not recognize them. They were Devil Esports. Now they've changed them to SFAM. So it's the same players, just a different name. We're not going to waste any time because we know that we're waiting to get into this lobby. These players are ready. So let's take a look at the maps that we're going to be heading to high best. So very exciting start. I mean, look at those
Ooh.
two maps are going to kick things off. Nighthaven Lair.
Two of the newest maps to be added into the competitive pool. Nighthaven Labs has rapidly become a fan favorite map. Teams really enjoy playing on Labs. It plays out very similar to some maps that we've already seen in the pool, maps like Clubhouse, for example, where you've got very step based takes. Teams do one thing, then they do another thing, then they execute. Whereas Layer is one that teams are still figuring out. Obviously, it is the most recent addition into the game. And even at the pro level, every single time it comes out, I'm still seeing different strategies being brought out, being employed on that map. And I think it's going to be a very interesting series just based on these first two
Yeah.
maps.
It kind of actually leads into our deciding map because we've got Chalet, and there's nothing special I'll say about Chalet, but the big thing for me, Chalet, is we're seeing what's happening on Lair. That happened on Chalet when Chalet came in originally. I mean, it was a map, it's the first map since the 22nd meta. Teams were figuring out the meta, figuring out what works. And I was seeing a similar thing on Lair. So I feel like Chalet's a nice way to round things off, but it's the confidence from the teams. And one of the night Haven, okay, that makes sense. It's a good game, a good map, but one a lot of teams may not be comfortable on. But then going to Lair as well, that's a big power play, especially at this point. So I feel like going onto that map is something where they're saying, right, okay, we know what we're doing. We're ready. No offense, we're going to win.
Yeah, Layer is a map that you go on to when you're feeling really confident in it. You're
Yeah,
expecting your opponent doesn't have as much practice on the map just because by virtue of the fact that it is so new. Teams haven't had
yeah,
the time to really practice it to bring it into their map pool. So if you're feeling confident on it, you try and ban a map around your other map bans such that you end up on that one so that you can maybe
yeah.
surprise your opponents. And I can absolutely see SFM managing to pull something off on that map.
Yeah, hopefully we see something incredible coming out from them. Now, taking a look at this, let's take a look at the predictions. I know you said there's no real consensus so far in what we're looking at the moment, but we'll see if there has been something. I mean, from the production side of things, it's a very one-sided position. It is definitely no offense taking the victory on the production side as well as the social. I mean, 92% going up against the SFAM's 8%. But then my next question is that maybe as a result of the people might not be aware of that name change?
It's very possible. It seemed to me, just based on the conversations that I was seeing on Twitter earlier today, that the
Yeah,
main concern that people had with SFM was the fact that they don't tend to be as practiced a team. They've got better players, they've got gunners, they've got shooters, people who are able to pick up those kills, but they may not be as tight. And looking at the three maps that we're going to be going to today, these aren't necessarily gunfight heavy maps. Things like your border, things like your Oregon historically. Labs and Layer and Chalet, they're all execute focused maps. They're maps that
yeah.
involve a lot of team play. So personally, from where I'm coming from, I really see No Offense is the ones that have the advantage in this series.
Yeah, and we're going to start things out with the map ban. We're seeing the Maverick being taken out very quickly, and that makes a lot of sense when you think about that IT side and you think about that bottom floor breach. A Maverick gets control of that utility, have a bit of verticality either below or above, and it really just there's no way you can stop that breach getting open. That line of sight's being made. So as a defender, you want to get that map off the board. Ace going to follow as well, and probably for the sake that they can pair really nicely with the Maverick. They don't have to get up close like a Thermite would, and they don't have the long time for the gadget deployment like Habana. So that makes a lot of sense to be taken away as well. But for me, Blackbeard, Blitz, and Monty, all three of those operators are still on the board.
For labs, obviously the shield operators are very powerful. The thing that's crazy to me is seeing though that double hard breach ban, losing
Yeah,
out on all of that potential to open up walls. It's going to make the Cade super powerful if he's not banned out here. And we'll see in just 1 second, will Cade be played? No. So all 4 of the bans in this ban phase going towards keeping walls closed or making it harder, easier for them to be opened up. It's all hard
Yeah.
breach adjacent bans. So, like you're saying, that opens up a lot of potential for shield play, for
Yeah.
playmaking, for using different operators, different combinations of operators to take fights more so than playing the utility game. So, actually, ban phase, in my mind, a little bit favors SFM.
I mean, yeah, and also as well, because we're seeing those operators, yes, Cade's taken off the board, the Mavericks banned, the Aces banned. Yeah, the attackers do still have the opportunity to bring attackers like a Grin with the hard breach and bring it also with an EMP or some combination. They're still able to ban the trick. So Zarino is going to be in a strong position at the moment, really, to get that trick off. They just need to be aware of the people maybe playing below. But no offense, don't seem to have that alignment. They've gone very much for that Monty Grim sides. They want to clear out that rafter side, get in either fish or rafters, really use that Monty and take as much space as they can without having to sacrifice anything. By doing that, ideally push SFM out of the way. But the big thing they're going to have to deal with is this extended hold. We're seeing a very confident defensive setup from SFM. They've got these extensions over towards that hallway. They've got a player over towards Fish, and they're also looking for that run out as well. Looking to pick up the Monty. It's going to be Granules. Grenouille, I'm probably not saying it right. It's going to be the dogs running out, doesn't get the kill. I'll let the Canadian answer it, yeah.
Grenouille there. But yeah, just in general, it's they do have the tools to be able to deal with this extended setup. No Offense have brought along the EMPs on the Grim, which will easily get rid of any of the mute jammers that are being employed to protect the shields so that the Flores will be able to destroy them later on in the round. But before all that, they're going to open some stuff up, looking to get this connector wall open. ESA falls back to Electrical, not wanting to contest that space too early on. And it looks like we might actually be seeing the connector and electric side attack rather than that water side we might have been expecting.
Now, the big thing about the EMP and the fact that they can use that to get a breach open is it requires that coordination, as something you highlighted earlier, that teams need to have. Now, what we're seeing is our connectors being opened up very, very quickly and very confidently with a nice use of the nade rebound. Doesn't overexpose, doesn't do anything they don't need to. And that's just been done. So they could drop off, rotate, maybe go down towards that blue side, move in with the rest of the players. Rustin is covering Grenouille. As the drones come out, the information comes through. They get a little bit more aware of where these players are. They know there's going to be that mirror playing that connector side. They know that's going to happen, and they're trying to deal with it from the vert. Doesn't find a kill, so they rotate back up. They have opened that window, which means it's a lot harder for that mirror to play behind there, but they can still play that very, very difficult for an effective push. They will start moving through. Kodaft will find the first kill of this round so far at halfway through. As the C4 goes out, doesn't find its mark. Zarino sure will. Casco has an answer of their own, and with a minute 20 left, Isaiah finds a kill.
Great work out of the Finka, going down below to be able to open up that mirror window and continuing to fight forward, using that LMG to full potential, engaging fights everywhere. Does lose it to Zarino, and Grenouille picks out another one elsewhere, leaving just Kesko last alive. Full fight in towards Electrical, and it will be Sfam taking the first round off the back of some nice play by the Mira, not being afraid to engage with the attackers, pushing into sight.
Yeah, and I feel like it came down to a lot of the gunfights, really. That round was won out. I mean, there wasn't anything blaringly obvious from the side of No Offense that didn't work. I mean, they jumped in, a couple of them lost their gunfights, and maybe they didn't apply pressure on the second angle as well. But on the side of things, SFM, they just played it tight. They won the gunfights, and as Zarino, like I said, they would have a great time on Bandit. They surely did. Staying alive over towards that connector side, just getting the final kill. They will pick up that first round on that top floor, and now we head below. I'm expected to see a fair bit of rolling here.
Yeah, this basement site on Labs is hard to play, hard to defend unless you're playing a little bit more extended up onto the top floor. Teams who just stick in the basement can often be punished by vertical operators like we see being brought along by Alio here. The Ram, the Buck, they can open up all the floor above your head that the defense has for protection around the site and just make the entire space super uncomfortable, pinch you out, force you back, and then employ a plant in towards either Exo or Animus, whatever the attack decides to go for. They've got flexibility. So I, like you said, expect to see an extended roam here, and we absolutely see that as Grenouille attempts another run out. He went for the same spawn peak last time, won't catch anybody this time either. Gold just barely getting away with his life, shoulder seen, but it's okay as we get into this round.
Yeah, it's a statement of intent really more than anything. It's making them aware, look, we're roaming, you need to clear us out, you need to waste this time. Gold, probably the best player to do that with the Jackal scan. We'll get the info on Granui. The drone goes out, even though they know that they're there. They know that Goyo's still there, so why the Jackal isn't pushing is probably to get that coordination, get somebody else nearby. There's a gunfight, and Granui goes for the swing. They're going to find that mark. Last Jackal scan will go out. They can start to rotate away, but no, it's too late as Kodaf does rotate around. A refrag comes out from Isaiah, and that room is still there. Aljo and Casco both going to fall to the Vigil on the flank. Oh no! The case as well, high bear. And now it's down to Gold and Russo. Neither of them had a kill just yet, but they're going to try and make that change now. The Vigil, they just drop back. They don't need to play that case. They can just play it safe. They bought so much time for the attackers, and they've just put so much pressure in an arguably unwinnable situation. They still have a whole roam clear to do.
Amazing work out of Keo, finding impact in a pretty tough position, finding himself 2 kills, but more importantly, after getting those kills, giving up the space, not continuing to fight. You did the damage. You've done your job. Now what you want to do is just keep yourself alive, keep yourself in the round so that in the late round, it's even harder for this attack. You manage to get back to site, you ensure that you're defending the bomb site with a 4v2 advantage, and that's massive compared to a 3v2, where just a single misstep, one mistake ends up equalizing the round count. But we do see a little bit of a fight, and Keo through the floor, because the fact it's on low HP actually ends up being downed. Great work by Gold, good find, but will they be able to finish that player off? Do they know that he's even down? And the answer is no, as Keo gets revived while the vert continues. A little bit of a miss here, out of no offense.
Yeah, they might not know that that player's just been down, and as a result, like you say, they're able to escape and stay alive, keeping that 2-player count kicking strong. EO just going to play it safe now. They don't have to get aggressive. They have other operators that can do that. They still have a C4 in pocket as well. And right now, no offense, starting to feel the pressure as they do see Aroma start to go up those stairs and just head back down. Again, it's just like Granui did. It's a statement of intent. It's making them not feel comfortable. It's making them feel awkward. And as we hit the last 30 seconds, they're going to be watching the back of their head. Bruce starts looking down towards that floor, tries to find a pick to really open things up and kick this attack off, but isn't going to be able to find it. As a result, they're just going to have to drop cargo, push together. The drop comes out. They do the damage to Isaiah, but don't find the kill. They will eventually, but the cam keeps giving that info. They know that that bug's sitting there. They probably know that Jackal's there as well. With such low HP, 8 seconds left, they're not going to have time. As Zarino and Keo both clean that round up.
Excellent work on the vert there by Sfam. I actually thought for a minute there they might find some picks, but you see just how dangerous it was. What I was talking about with that vertical play above the bomb site, you can really make the defense uncomfortable. And we saw multiple times players almost get picked off by the vertical being made by that buck, by that jackal. Apologies. And yeah, the round does end up falling in SFM's favor, but just barely. And no offense, had several opportunities to try and get back into it. But so far, I gotta say, I'm impressed by the confidence with which SFM is playing inside of these rounds. They look good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, they're confident. They're taking these gunfights. They're getting aggressive. They're making, no offense, come to them. I mean, they're really making them work for it. And in these cases, when they are going for it, they're confident. They have backed themselves to win those gunfights, like we've seen in those last couple of rounds. I would wager that in that last round, if there was one more player, they actually had a much better chance. They had a really good chance of winning that round if they could play that bird. This site, while that last round is over, this site is beginning anew. This is another site where they have a good opportunity to use that verticality. It's essentially that top floor type take, but then you start looking down below with 30 seconds. There's a lot more focus over towards that garage side, though, and that means that these attackers, if they can get that garage breach open, can walk in. They can also run into crossfire, which they probably don't want. At this point, they just need to be a little bit more aware these roamers coming in and really trying to be as aggressive as they are, because that's where they lost a couple of these players. That's where they lost the edge in that round.
Yeah, no offense, likely going to want to slow things down a little bit, try and be a bit more methodical with the way that they take space. Last round, it didn't look like they were quite aware of how much of an extension SFM was playing. They had 3 or 4 players up on that top floor really looking to cause problems for the attack. And while No Offense did manage to get the opener by lurking somebody in up those water stairs, they did not have the players for the follow-up. This time they need to be better. They cannot be dropping numbers in the early round. But as I say that, Kesko goes down. Kyoza managed to find him through the meeting barricade, dropping the thermite. Granted, his job is complete. He has opened up that IT wall, but that is still a terrible player to lose this early on.
Exactly. That's droning that is taken away from that late round. That's a third, like that extra player that's playing the verticality when the execute comes through. It's taken away, and as a result, you can see side of us of no offense, they're still not really confident pushing in. There's no real pressure made towards this top floor, and as a result, you can see Isaiah just sat quite comfortably. They're not really stressed too much, and they have Kyo to back them up as well. Kodaf will find a kill, takes down Romza, and Gran Eljo gets Granui as well. And that might be the open up we need as they start taking pressure, taking that bottom floor. These two runners up on this top floor will have to start using that verticality of their own. They need to be aware, make sure that no actual plan starts to go down while they're focusing on these players. Desire knows that Flores is there. The Flores doesn't get the kill, and Gold's just taken off the board. That's going to be Isaiah starting to turn their attention downstairs. A minute left in a 3 versus 3. No offense. Have to start looking towards this site now. They can't just go for that top floor. They need to be able to have some entry and some focus on site. As case goes up, they'll focus on IT window. Doesn't find a kill and just moves out of the way safely. This is all time that's being taken while they rotate to the garage window. And mirrors just pull back to those mirror windows.
But look at this, they're getting ready to go down below. They're looking for a sight hit here, and as they say that, CO walks upstairs, managed to find one, but is traded out by Zarino. Still alive, still upstairs, ready to contest this vert, as Alyo and Roos look to get into the bomb site. This vertical play is going to be imperative. If Zarino can deny this plant from above, that'll be the round, but with the timer ticking down, with that bomb about to be stuck, it looks like the defense is going to have to be the ones who are now on the attack. Vertical play is still there, and they do manage to find Bruce as he's trying to sneak out of the site, leaving just one player left alive, but Alyo manages to equalize with a nice headshot onto Zarino. A little bit of a tap on the case. The zombie barrier is being used to slow the approach, but Alyo has perfectly read the situation. They're not sticking the case just yet, and while he has to punch it 2 more times, he baits it. He does manage to get the player off. They take a fight. Kyo still managing to stay alive. Lots of shots with, but playing around these burials, playing just around the cover. They need to fight each other eventually, and Alyo will be the one to eventually win it out with the shot into the chest of the zombie, winning the round for his team, and a really great comeback inside that round out of no offense.
Yeah. I mean, it's much needed as well because looking at that, I mean, they were sat down, they're 2-0 at the moment. They on that tertiary site, they needed to win that bomb site because now we're heading back up to that top floor. That was well played. I mean, we come to the end. I was really impressed with the way that Kyo was playing that because they had the barricades, they had the keeper barricades there to just shut things off. They forced Alio to put pressure on, make noise, and give away their position. But then when it came to the gunfight, Alio was able to just play it perfectly. They wasted so much time, and they just stopped Kyo from being able to try and get on that case. I mean, as soon as that time fixed, the defenders weren't even aware that that case had gone down. As soon as that case goes down, the attackers become the defense, and time is suddenly ticking and not in their favor. That was really well played. I mean, I'm impressed that they were able to get into sight, and that's where I feel there's a lot more focus towards garage, and maybe we didn't see SFM focus enough towards the other sides of the site, like the games room, because that's where we got that plant down. They were able to just walk in, get the plant, and there was no info. So maybe that's why we're seeing this Valkyrie pick. They're bringing out that information operator to try and make sure that something like that doesn't happen again.
Not enough info and not enough verticality, in my opinion. There were a couple of holes made in the floor, but not above the default plant spot inside of command room there. You need to be kind of like making holes all around the floor so you can test different vert, check different spots, and amazing job by No Offense identifying the fact that that vert isn't really being played. So we can just sneak in here, walk through forks, whatever. There's nobody watching this spot. They managed to pull it off, they get the case down, and consequently get themselves the round. Despite what I gotta say was a really cool play out of Kyo, using those zombie barriers to close the rotate, taking his time, and like, oh, that was awesome. Excellent utility play. I got some new tech to employ in my next rank games. But even so, getting into this next round, we are seeing some different operators being brought along. The Ying, notably, an initiator, here to try and enable the execute to go through into sight. That was the big problem with the No Offense attack last time. They never had any util with which to push behind. So we'll see if they can find anything this round.
Yeah, exactly. Getting that breach open was something they didn't really struggle with. They were able to do it quickly, they were able to do it competently, and they didn't lose any bodies. So getting that connector side open, like you say, they have that initiating operator. They have the Monty to put that pressure on over towards Fish side, but there's no support. And that is so dangerous because if we did see Kyo going up those Fish stairs, they'd be able to find a possible quick kill. Yes, Roosters over towards that Raptors side window, but it's not there. It's not actively looking to help out. And now Keo realizing that there's a player over there on their own will try and rotate over, or at least get on the camera to get the info. The first Candela will start to go off. Isaiah and Granui now focusing on the pressure towards that electrical and connector side, whereas Romza, Keo, and I believe the last one of Xavier now have to focus over towards that Raptors and Fish. Rotate does come over. We will see, no offense, the positioning for this connector side. They want to get this execute going. I feel like they're just waiting to get the pieces in play. These Jaeger ADSs are going to get so much more powerful in the next 30 seconds. Kesco will just start walking in. Sereno will be taken off the board, but Isaiah and Romza each have a kill of their own. Granui finding one as they jump through connector, getting that case down. And as Romza finds Russo, it's all down to gold. And it feels like in the blink of an eye high there, that round has just ended, and it's all down to the Finker. No kills on the board over towards Raptors, and an absolute mountain to deliver.
Gold is going to try and find some fights here, just tapping away at that Raptors door, but the defensive SFM just aren't going to give them that fight. They know all they need to do is hold their positions, hold their crossfires. As I say that, Gyoza looking to engage a little bit, but he backs off before Gold even gets there. Just 14 bullets left in the mag. Gold's going to have to go for a reload, but by the time you're done reloading this LMG, there's 10 seconds left. This is surely going the way of SFM. Off the back of some excellent play, I gotta say, out of the defense of SFM.
Yeah. Even if we see a kill come out, then there's just not enough time. They just give away the position. While, yeah, you see Kyo get taken down, Romza's there to finish it up. The numbers game was what ended that round out, really. And like I say, time with the round. But that wasn't where the round ended. The round ended with a really good burst of kills coming out from SFM. They held their nerve really well. They found the picks together. And I feel like even when they lost the player, they did still continue. They had somebody there for the refrag. They had somebody to take control of the space that they got off that kill. I mean, Grenouille, as soon as that Thatcher player got that Thermite and Connector got taken down, they had immediately pushed forward. They had control and they were pressuring electrical. And they just didn't allow the attackers to try and get anything back from no offense. So we are going to be headed back to our bottom floor site. And the big thing for me, again, is verticality. But how are No Offense going to deal with these roamers? Are they going to be ready for SFM trying to move these players up late round, which they've been enjoying doing so far? Or are they going to possibly fall into the same error? Are they going to have just rush in to get refrags, lose the bodies, and then pull out the jump outs as well? It worries me. We kind of need to see this. We kind of need to see a bit of a change on this from the attack.
Well, you talk about dealing with roamers, and No Offense absolutely have brought along a lineup that is meant to deal with the roam. You see the Doke and the Jackal being brought along, both operators who are essentially clearing out heavy roam extensions. The question is, how much of a roam extension is there? Last time, we saw Grenouilles all the way up on the top floor going for spawn peaks. This time, it really doesn't seem to me like we've got too many people up on that top floor. It's just Grenouille who's contesting over towards meeting, but that's an easy fall off towards lobby. And look, he's already on his way down. Lobby stairs right now, getting ready to leave. Yo, a little bit aggressive on this window, trying to see if he might be able to find a fight. And if he hears a drone noise, that barricade is prepped and he is ready to jump outside. Will we see it happen? Time will tell.
No, I think the spot comes out because you see Keo realizes that somebody's out there. They've been spotted. And as a result, they walk off. But look at this. No Offense have taken their time. They've been smart about this, and they've tried to position as a cutoff. The question is, are they ready for the player over towards that window? It does do some bullets will start going through, but doesn't find its mark just yet. Keo will stay there. Grenouille drops off to back them up. And now, No Offense, they haven't actually got a kill so far or started entering the building, but these roamers are already feeling pressured and they're already feeling uncomfortable. Now, though, with 2 minutes left on the clock, something's going to happen. They're going to have to try and find an opening somewhere. And with a document scan, that's going to be over towards that storage and control side. Grenouille is getting that red ping at the moment, so they know that player's there. They know a player's in storage, and Kodaf will find that first kill onto Isaiah. Keo has an answer, though, with the MDX will find Alio. And staying in this storage side will be very difficult to clear out as long as the attackers aren't what's going on. Bit of damage does come through. The cutoff towards Kitchen will find the player, and very nicely done, even if it's a little bit late. The Jackal scan comes through and finds Grenouille as well over towards Cargo. This is a much better attacking round.
Excellent work on the cutoffs out of No Offense. They really understood what was going on with that roam setup, where those players were positioned, and set up their cutoffs accordingly. Finding the players, trying to rotate back to site, and being just held at the tops of those staircases where they went to fall off. We do see a little bit of re-aggression here out of Zarino. He's not spotted, but spots a player. A little bit of potential to go for a fight, but thinks better of it, decides to fall back, decides off the back of that Jackal track that it is not worth staying. You don't want to give up your life. Make it a 1v4 for your teammate, preferring to continue to fight a little bit later on.
Yeah, definitely the right decision to make as Roms is able to get that down with only a 1-player difference now as they push up towards that cargo side. They've decided to get aggressive. This is what I meant with the Romans. It's the late round execute. Are they going to put the pressure on? Are they going to be ready for something like Romza running up cargo? Well, with 30 seconds ticking down, Romza is going to rotate back. They're not going to go back upstairs because they don't have the time to do that. If, like you say, Zarino falls into 1v3 and they're in a very awkward spot to win that out. But now, No Offense, are uncomfortable. Pushing into X, so they know a play's there, but they're watching their back. Snell. He's sat in suit. 10 seconds left. The swing goes out from Ronza. Zarino gets taken down, but with 8 seconds left, the rush has to come through. Kodaf, they've got to put the utility through. They won't get the flash. And now Romza knows exactly what's going to happen. The swing comes out. Kodaf are able to find a second round. And No Offense will keep themselves in it by the tiniest fraction of a second.
Well read by Kodaft, understanding the position that Bandit had pushed to, knowing that he is prone in the front of the room right next to the breach. A dangerous, aggressive spot being played by that defender. But No Offense do manage to find the read, and Kodaft with the essential play to be able to get that over the line with such low time. I thought just for a second that Zarino and Ramza were going to pull it off, but my heart beating. We go on another round, and No Offense do manage to put up a second for themselves.
Yeah, and well, I feel like if you're SFM at this point, you've got 3 rounds on the board already. You're not going to be too stressed about it. You just go back down below. You don't have to go to that tertiary site. Oh, no, that's a shame. You lost it anyway. You'd want to go here. But for No Offense, that's such a big turnaround because that round was one that got a little bit too close, a little bit too uncertain for my liking at the end. Like you said, me and you felt that Romza and Zarino had that, but no doubt, No Offense was starting to question themselves when they lost that 4th player in the breach, which means that's a big morale boost once they do win out that round. They're going to be looking at themselves, seeing what mistakes they made, but they had the right formula. They dealt with these Romans. They just need somebody to keep an eye on in case Romza tries something like that again. But realistically, that was very well played. Now they have to deal with that top floor roam again. You said it was focused a lot more down below last time. Now they've got to deal with the top floor. It's just more time to waste, and SFM are going to try and use all of that.
Gotta highlight Kodaf so far in this game. He's really been the one who's putting the team on his back. You can see he's got a 7-4 scoreline right now, but more than just having a lot of kills, those kills have been consistently impactful. They've been entries, they've been pickups in the late round, they've been essentially clutching out a round for his team on 000 time, like as that case is forced to be stuck. And yeah, that's something that you want to continue to see, but Kodaf really is the only one who's been finding that impact so far. I'm looking at the rest of these players to try and find something. And as I say that, Gold, who's been having a stinker so far, does manage to find himself an opener onto Keo and almost a follow-up onto Granui. Nearly hits the headshot, does a bunch of damage, and forces a little bit of a fall-off. But elsewhere, ESA does find a trade onto Kodaft. And with that being your best player, that's gotta hurt if you're No Offense.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But with Gold on the F2, you still feel quite confident for the side of No Offense, but you need to be a little bit more wary because now they don't have those bodies to spare and they still need to deal with that top floor. If they read into it, if they drone out the site and realize that these players are roaming on that top floor, they could get aggressive and go for an execute on site. And that might just be what the doctor ordered. But when you consider the Valkyries on the board, maybe not. Go for the roam clear, get those kills. Gold's not going to worry. In fact, Gold's already on site. Look at the drop coming out from the other players. Russia gets a kill of their own. And now Granui and Zarino have to rush back to site. Granui able to find 1 kill, but because they're being such a stressful situation, will be traded out as well. The damage comes out. Gold is just toying with their food and closes out Zarino and gives us a 3-3 split in what surely felt like it was going to be a 4-2 at least. That's going to be the 2nd round in a row that we're going to see SFM lose that bottom floor, and I don't know what we've just seen.
Gold, what are you doing? You're jiggling back and forth around the pillar, refusing to give. I don't know. Who was that? Was it a fight? Oh my, ridiculous moves out of him. He had him on ice skates. That Twitch, that F2. Let him play that gun more often, dude. Gold's been having a stinker so far, and he turns it around that round with an excellent 3K. Opening things up for his team, taking the site all by himself, and getting his team a tie game at the half. No Offense, managing to pick up the round.
That's the thing. I mean, they found that that moment. They realized those rumors were up above, and they said, "Well, there's these players down below. If we commit these players, we can get in that site. We can start going for that execute. And as long as we're aware that these defenders are going to rush back to site, we can deal with it." And that's exactly what happened. Like, they were ready for the answer that we saw. Yes, Grenade did get a kill, but the rest of the team were able to pick it back up. The refrag was there, and then we saw Gold still with one down in suit, albeit in a very funny way to do it. Now on the side switch though, SFM they're going to go onto the attack. Now we're going to see what they're really made of. No Offense has done a really good job getting that 3-3 split, and a map like Nighthaven so far has been so defender-sided for ourselves at the moment. It's about 52%, whereas the attackers have a 47% win rate. And I mean, for a map like Nighthaven, that's still good for an attack, but it's because No Offense know what they're doing. To go onto the defense, they should have a really strong idea of what they're going to do. SFM, let's see how they deal with this. A different strategy to deal with all this utility.
Yeah, one thing I want to highlight is that Fuse being brought along by Kyo. I was going to say, do my eyes deceive me? But imagine the kind of usage that you can get out of that operator. Using it on the IT breach, piercing through that and opening up a ton of getting rid of all the util front IT, putting maybe on the barrier towards top water to get rid of the shield that's being employed by No Offense. We do see the opener go the way of SFM, and that's Theodaft going down. That Fenrir, not the most important operator in this lineup. Obviously, you'd rather lose him than potentially your C4s being brought along by Alio and Gold, but still, not being able to juggle those Fenrir gadgets can be a little problematic as we move into the late round.
Yeah, I'm really happy with the lineup that I've seen and the kind of synergy that they can have, because they can down rotate to construction, do the exact same thing. Thatcher puts the EMP down, Fuse puts the gadget down. There is no chance of a bandit trick. Not that there is one in this round, but it's just not going to happen. The EMP stops the bandit from getting that gadget down. The Fuse charges will just go through, and that means... Yeah, essentially that happens, but the other way around. Riso able to find Bridu, it will take down that Twitch, will shut down that lurker down below. And as they try to pressure up that Rafters side, Rom's just going to be able to find the frag now. Plays up the garage, which means they can open things up, but that window into my piece will make it even more difficult. And you will see the attackers start to pressure towards connector, but there's no support for garage. C4 goes off, doesn't find the kill onto Sereno, and that's going to mean that Gold is just going to walk forward with that shotgun. That Mossberg will be so dangerous if they know a player's there. They spot the Fuse, miss the shot, the pre-fire comes out. Can they swing it again? Yes, they can. Can they hit the shot? No, they can't. As Alio finds the Zion, now we're going to see Gold really put into a difficult position. They have to swing or be swung, because if they don't back up, they're going to get cut off very quickly. Alio able to find another one, finds Sereno, and now puts us in a 3 versus 2. The shotgun from Gold puts it in a 3 versus 1, and Romza in IT gets another one. But now with the 2 versus 1, time to get down, 30 seconds on the clock. How's this one gonna go?
Things falling apart in the mid-round here for SFM, but No Offense, everyone on that team is low. One bullet will be enough to finish them off, so Romza with the chance, choosing to creep forward, lurking along, but the Goyo fire popped. He does manage to find the down onto Alio, but can he get into sight? Will he be able to find this one remaining player? Pulls out the pistol, looking for the fight, running forward, and he will find the shot onto the remaining player, onto that low HP Mute. Mute popping up from behind the box. He knew the position. He was ready for the unprone, and 1v2 clutch being won by Romza to secure the round. The Thermite bringing the guns.
Thermite. Oh, I mean, we talked about operators. You lose at the start, and you all right. The uses are there, but there we go. Romza really putting on a masterclass of how to win out those really unfortunate 1vx scenarios. Realistically, that came down to really good positioning from the side of SFM and what they start doing. They got control of garage, they got control of rafters, or they at least shut down those roamers there. And as a result, that meant that they were able to use that as a potential avenue of assault. Alio was then in a situation where they had to decide what angle they were going to be. His connector opened up as well. Gold stuck at electrical. It was really awkward for them to rotate back, especially with IT control going in favor of the attack. And that meant that they decided to hold that position. Yes, they got a kill, but then at the end, they were isolated. These defenders couldn't play together. And that's where we saw Romza find those kills. And you want to talk about some impact kills, that's something they needed there. The first attacking round goes in favor in a massive way to SFM, and they're going to have to do it one more time with hopefully a couple less downs.
Was that a 1v3, McCready?
I believe so, yeah. It was a 1v3.
I think for a second it was Romza. Some serious impact on the Thermite fragmite column. That's your hard support player. I'd hate to be getting peaked by the rest of this roster, but he is actually the top frag for his team so far inside of this game. Mirror Window will be popped on this IT breach, just getting into the next round here. That's there just to slow down the attack and to make it just a bit more uncomfortable to be that hard breacher. But Ramza says, I don't care. I'll open up that wall anyways and find 3 picks regardless. Excellent work out of SFM in that last round. Let's see if they're able to replicate it going forward.
Oh, this is worrying me. The run out is prepped over the side of electrical, so gold realistically is ready for anyone to just pop that window open. They could just jump through, but as soon as they know that pressure's in IT, they can try and get a refrag. But that breach opened up very quickly again by the Stanchion Fuse and Thermite combo. Are we expected to see a player down below? Maybe not, because no offense were ready for it, and they lost Renui very early on due to it. So maybe they might just be doing that a little bit later. Just put the pressure on Garage, wait for that player to rotate around. You see Raptor's approach has gone very, very different to what it was before. It's slowed down a lot. It's a lot more comfortable with these zombie barricades. Keo will be the first one to get downed over towards Connector's side. Will not be finished off, but that's a lot of HP to take away at the halfway mark already. Azaya finding the first kill, will find Kodaf. It's hard to open up Raptors. Grenouille getting that bottom cargo as well. Now Rafters opens up, and this push might come through to IT.
Yeah, and the mirror window pops, so Kezo doesn't really have the space to play around like he did before, but he said, screw that, I'm swinging anyways. Managed to find the headshot on ESA. Ramza followed up on Gold, swinging out, finding a second for himself, and all of a sudden, we see another massive swing in the mid-round. The only players left alive are these 2 attackers over towards Connector. That's Keo, who's already super low HP from being down earlier on. Sereno, who said, screw this, I'm hopping into sight, pops the Goyo canister, downs 1 player, finishes off the second. But Gold, last alive, surely gets resolved here, but no, Alio is the last one. The down player finished off, swinging out, managing to find the headshot onto the fuse, pushing in. What just happened in that late round?
Oh, it's just swinging back and forth. It's a clock. It's just the grandfather clock, left and right and left and right again. Very well played there from No Offense, able to bring it back and just at the end. Realistically, when that half round kind of flipped back in favor of the defense, that was where that round kind of came to it.
I thought it was over.
Yeah, I mean, that was where it came to a head because there were only 2 attackers left. And at that point, because they were both over towards that connected side, there was no other angle. They didn't have the numbers to have somebody apply a third angle, which meant when it did come to that gunfight, yes, we saw the jumping come out from Isaiah, but they weren't able to get anything out of it. They downed 1 player and then got taken away. And then immediately the player had to jump into refrag. They knew exactly where they were coming from. They could have the crossfire in place. And just the numbers won it out, really. I mean, you just got to feel bad for them because the bullets just didn't land on where they needed to for the fuse, and that just ended the round. But on the side of No Offense, that's a badly needed defensive round. They're going to head down below now, and again, they're going to be focusing with a nice bit of roaming potential on there. Mute Mozzie combo, shut down that information game. Fenrir, make sure they can't really rush without knowing alongside the Legion. And with the Mute, it's a classic you can't deny.
I really thought that last round was over multiple times.
Oh, yeah.
That being said, we're getting into this next round, and another roam extension being brought along for this basement bomb site. Again, I think absolutely the correct decision. Having extended players, having people to protect that vertical such that your site players don't just get taken out by the vertical play being brought along by Ixa and Zarino inside of this round. But SFM, they do bring along some roam clearing ops. Grenouille and Ramza playing the Deimos and Jackal, both perfectly suited to clearing out this extended roam. And they do find the first. Grenouille using that Deimos to great effect as Kyoza following up with the Blitz, applying pressure onto Mozzie. But look, he's surrounded on all sides. Roos goes down from the flight from the Jackal, and everything has already fallen apart for No Offense. A minute into this round, and they're already trailing by 2.
Yeah, so this is exactly what I meant when I was talking about roam clear, because I've gone on about it so much because it's so important. 2 players left on that top floor, take it away, off the board. C4 in pocket on the Mozzie, gone now, so you need to worry about that. Zerino able to pick the head of Gold as well. Yeah, the C4 does go out, but I mean, this round feels like it might be over already unless we see something massive. The Blitz goes out, finds Kodab. It's all down to Alio, who has gone upstairs, but they knew exactly where they were. Azaya takes him down, and it's the right... It says flawless round. I mean, we're seeing a timeout coming out from No Offense, and that makes a lot of sense because what we saw from SFM was a masterclass in roam clearance. They had cut-off players, they had the information operators, and the players committed to the droning. It just meant that as soon as one thing was done, no offense, they tried to get something back. They tried to reposition. SFM were there, they were ready, and they had that kill. Very strong round. We didn't see a single defender die on site because of how strong that was. And no offense, they just wanted to get something back. They realized they were losing and they were hemorrhaging players, and they wanted to bring something back. Realistically, not the play they should have made. They should have tried to just hunker down and maybe have one player just stay nearby just in case. But with the attacking lineup like that, it's so difficult to do.
I do actually disagree a little bit. I think when you do drop numbers that early on, trying to reaggress is the right play. I just don't necessarily think No Offense timed it right. Obviously, this time out, what they're going to be talking about is like maybe tempering that aggression a little bit, slowing things
Yeah,
down, letting the roam clear come through so they don't get cut off by those objectively excellent cutoff players that were brought by SFM. Lurking the Jacqueline through conference was genius out of them. Catching the bandit trying to, or the not the bandit, sorry, the Mozzie trying to rotate off through electrical. That's some amazing play. And like off the back of the blitz and like the Jackal track, the Deimos track, like everything's coming at once. And you got to feel for those roamers. There's not much else you can do in that situation. But
yeah.
no offense, they do need to start finding some rounds here, and they do need to find rounds on more than just that top 4 side. So they will run it back on the downstairs, and let's see if they're able to switch things up, come up with some better strategies in order to get
Yeah.
this one over the line.
I do feel like we're being very sly, very shady towards the side of offenses. Yeah, but no offense. They got to do better. Um, no offense, I've got to slow it down. A little bit, yeah,
They're
like
the
I
ones who made their name into a little bit of a turn of phrase that we can use in our cast here. I feel like we should not be held responsible for any confusion amongst the viewing
Hey, I
audience.
didn't say that. I didn't say be held responsible. I just said what it sounds like. There's two very different things. But yeah, I mean, we're seeing the room play again. Again, this is something that you should do. This is something that you should be able to practice, and they should be able to take control of. But it comes down to when things stop working, stop. When the fun stops, stop. Quote a certain campaign in the UK. That's something they shouldn't do. When they realize that that top floor isn't working out, the roam is failing, they shouldn't really be putting all of their bodies towards it and kind of putting their faces up against the verticality saying, hi guys, I'm here. They should be playing a little bit safer. They should be trying to just get crossfires to try and get really late refrags into the map. Now we're seeing a slightly different entrance through the gate. Greenemy is over towards the kitchen side, and there's already a lot of obvious evidence that there's roamers over there. We'll find ahead of Russo, takes away the mirror. Isaiah again finding Kesko, and again, 2 very easy kills for the side of SFM.
A completely different roam approach out of No Offense, extending only to this first floor, with 4 players on the first floor, a couple over towards kitchen and a couple over towards storage and vending. But all the kitchen players die, again, within the first minute of the round, and the entire top floor of the map has already been taken by SFM. These 2 remaining roamers are going to need to try and find some impact. They need to overstay, they need to fight, otherwise they'll just be overwhelmed and choked out on site later on. So, Kodaft does decide to rotate in over towards kitchen, hoping to see if he can get behind the Jackal of Ramza over towards warehouse, but I gotta say, I am not optimistic in their chances in this round.
Alio, don't go up the cargo stairs. There's no one on site. They're coming around to you from cargo. They know that you're there. The other roamers are over by suit. They're going to struggle to get back to site, especially with the roam play that we see at the moment. Right, we're going to make sure that Kodaf does not get there at all. And now Golden Alio will start to pull things back. They will start to slow things down. But now here is the real problem with this attacking lineup. The Ram, the Jackal, the Deimos, the Bot. The verticality is starting in a massive way, and while Isaiah will get taken down, that's still a 2 versus 4. The pings coming out onto that bandit will give away that position. The Bot very greedily looking to try and get this kill from the vert. This is not going to happen. They know that player's towards cargo, and Jackal's ready to get on them. Doesn't feel like there's much a defense can do here, but the round isn't over just yet as Deimos tries to get that kill from down below. Now, as the blitz starts to push through, the leisure mines, the goo mines, and the crossfire is essential to put out this round. But it doesn't feel like they're building a crossfire. They're just playing around. They're trying to make something work. The down comes out onto Alio, and Zerino will confirm that kill. It's down in a 1 versus 4. The plant starts to go down. The Deimos knows where this player is. We'll be watching the cutoff up, but they won't. Granui finds themselves on the floor, and so does Keo as well. This might actually be winnable now in the 2 versus 1.
Seemingly possible just for a second, but I will note Sereno has already retaken the top floor, and with that buck, he can open up vertical to hold this case from over towards command. And look at this, he's holding the doorway. He's not taking the shot until the player has committed to being walking through, but Sereno actually loses the fight. Oh my goodness, Gold managing to find him, and now it all falls down onto Ramza. Will he be able to collect the last kill? He will. Gold making a 1v4 almost look easy, but just barely managing to get over the line.
My mom said we could go to OT if your mom said it was okay. No offense, I'm gonna be leaving the game on that one, so I think it might be a rehost that we're looking for.
Potentially.
I mean, no offense, that was a tough one. They really struggled at the start, but a massive effort, like you said. Alio at the end as well as the other defender. They played it really well to try and keep it back and get it as close as they did. Unfortunately, it just wasn't enough. So let's take a look. Yeah, let's just see, look what we're looking at. Gold trying their best, being aware that this player is going to be playing that verticality. They knew that that was going to happen. They just wanted to be safe in that regard. Not able to win things out, and I mean, it's been back and forth so much here. SFM, how do they avoid doing something like that again? No offense, how do they continue that streak they've had so far, or of good opportunities that they've just not capitalized on?
It just feels like they're being choked out on this roam. SFM have some next level pathing on their entries. I'm seeing them consistently get into position that, no offense, just don't expect.
Yeah,
Wall banging in through central lobby, just cutting players off by jumping in conference on that upstairs roam. No offense, like the rounds are collapsing around them, and it looks like so far they just don't have any answers to this just overwhelmingly oppressive roam clear being brought along by SFM. Good
yeah. I
news for
mean,
them. They will be going back to that top floor site. They don't need to run the basement defense back. But you got to ask, at this point, is it worth it to maybe start switching things up? Do they want to go back to
yeah.
basement?
See, I'm a big believer in the fact of hi bear. When you lose a site once, okay, that's fine. You can try it again. If you know that's all right. Unless you are dead certain on and you've identified the core issues around a round. For that example, it's just how strong that roam clear has been from the side of SFM. If you've identified how you're going to deal with that, how you're going to counter it, then and you're 100% confident you can win that round, then sure, go for it. But realistically, if you're not 110% sure that you're winning that round, don't do it. You've not got the rounds to lose at this point. And as we are on match point now, High Bear, on the first map of possibly three, it feels like I don't think they should try that again. I feel like we should just go back to what works, go back to that top floor. They lost that first round. They can win that second one. But High Bear, we are going to head to a very short break before we continue with the rest of the action because we don't know when this game's going to continue. So we're not going to waste any time just yapping. We'll be back with you when the action gets on. So get a drink, but be back here soon.
Welcome back. Welcome back to the ESA Cup, to this match between No Offense and Sfam Esports. After last round, we did get notice from our admin team that there was a banned skin that was being run on the Blitz shield. So we will be replaying the previous round. What that means is we're back on this basement defense. No Offense will have another chance at dealing with this roam extension, with this super oppressive roam clear out of SFAB to see if they can find an answer to the problem they faced so far. So not over yet, not quite match point, but still they need to find some answers because so far it has not been looking good for them.
Yeah, exactly. Now, there's a couple of things to take note when we do a round replay. Everything has to stay the same in terms of site setup and optics. That means that the attacking lineup and the defending lineup is known to each the other team at each point, and as a result, they might be able to adjust strategies off this. Because, look, let's be honest, we're not stupid. We know that there's going to be a moment where they say, well, this is how they played. We have another opportunity. This is how we're going to do better. Last time we saw this site, we saw Sfam do exactly what they did at the moment, which is that kitchen side room clear. We saw No Offense try and hold that position, but it fell very, very quickly. It folded like a wet piece of paper in the rain. Hopefully, they're going to try and avoid that now. And you can see that almost all of those players are off the site. And the only reason that there's one player that's still kind of on there is because Cold is slightly on those stairs. So very much committed to this mid-floor room. They're looking to make this the make or break. The Jackal scan's going to start things off, and we'll start giving out that information to the attacking team. They're just not going to get it off at the moment, but the drone work will come through, and that will give the opportunity for the attack to start putting pressure on.
I will note this is already a better start out of No Offense. They've kept themselves alive longer than they've managed on any of the defensive basement rounds up until this point. Minute and 50 seconds, they're starting their fall back. They don't want to stick around too long. They know that's where they've been punished every time so far. So instead of sticking around, instead of overstaying their welcome, they're giving up a little bit of space as this push comes through. Smokes go out. Blitz taking a little bit of damage from the C4 that comes out, but he is not taken down and continues to creep forward as they look for some picks on this roam clear.
Yeah, and again, like you say, it's just such a big win here for no offense. They just need to convert the rest of it in the time that they've saved and the player lives that they've saved. They need to convert that into something a little bit more material, starting within the next half a minute or so. Fenrir Gadget into Azar will start to give away the position and means that they will spot that player for the roam clear from gold. That huge impact player the last time they tried to win this round and came so close to it. Is going to be picked up in that garage side. The defenders, they've all started to pull back. They've realized that they've got what they needed. That was that time. And as a result, they're letting the attackers have that vertical, but they're pulling things back. Jackal Scan will follow, and now Casco's in an awkward spot as they know that that vertical floor will start to open up ahead of them, or at least some gunfights and gunshots will start to put the pressure on. And as we see the rest of the vert start to take place, we will see Isaiah looking for the kill onto Alio. We'll find it just yet. 35 seconds to get down the vertical is doing well, but now let's start getting ready for this attack.
What I am interested in seeing is what this execute looks like out of Sfam. Every other round, the round has ended in the roam clear. This time, it's going to be different. They're going to use their util. They're going to hit sight. 20 seconds left on the board. Let's see how they do it.
Exactly. That suit hatch has now opened up, and that means that Kyo could drop in towards that site as Grenouille does get taken down, but they have to worry about the suit player. The C4 goes out, doesn't find its mark, and as a result, Kyo's going to try and punish this player. The Muse stuck on the start instead. Not getting out there. No one to support them out. They will have them. Yossi trying to help, but Alio, Kesko, and Rusa each get a kill of their own. Now Zorino's all on their own with 0 seconds left on the clock. Depot Cam still left on the board. And what must have been something... Sfam are going to be so upset about that because that round was theirs the first time. The second time, no offense, adapted and did it well.
Felt a little unfocused out of Sfam. I don't know if they just got a little rattled after the rehost, but it felt like the comms weren't there. They weren't as together as they've been in previous rounds. Things were slower. They didn't have a coherent idea for their execute. The roam clear didn't come through nearly as quickly. So let's see what they can find going into this next round. It's not over yet. There's still rounds for them to find, and they can still close this out in regulation. They've already won this upstairs site. There's no reason that they can't do it again, but you got to feel for them. Like you were saying, that was their round. That was the match point round that they'd already won before the rehouse came through, before it came out that they had been running that illegal shield skin. And no offense, thrown a lifeline, finding the opportunity to equalize and take us one round closer into seeing this be either a regulation win for them or an overtime game.
And I mean, I feel like, no offense, this is how it's kind of felt. It's felt for them that they've just been kind of chasing the tail quite a bit. They've managed to equalize at 33, but then their defensive side didn't start out very well. As a result, they've just always constantly been equalized. They've not been in charge of this game so far, and they've not set the pace. So this is a really good opportunity. They've had a little break, they've had a little breather, they've had a talk, no doubt, about what they're going to do in that time that we were rehosting. So this is a good opportunity. And now they're on that top floor site. This is where they're really going to want to get this done. Now, the bandit trick can come through, but it's that Thatcher infuse and thermite combo that we spoke about before. That's really going to deny this. But will Gold realize that this is happening and jump out at the right moment?
I gotta imagine between these three operators, we shouldn't see too much difficulty in getting the wall open. The bandit's gonna try and attempt the trick. The fuse charge is gonna go through. The fuse charge going out, and oh my, Alio manages to find both. Getting rid of the fuse charge, getting rid of the thermite, and recollecting his bandit batteries to go ahead and do it again. What a nice play out of him. Will he be able to hit it twice in a row, do you reckon?
That's the joy of Siege, honestly, because look at that play that you're seeing now. He will be able to find that thermite charge. He doesn't get the fuse.
No, he's dead.
He stops it. It does the damage. He only has one bandit charge in case, but he's going to be able to put that down. No, he's going to play it safe. Now that's done. They've decided that they have to go for that IT side. They're not going to rotate over to try and get that connector side open, which is what they could have done, because now that IT's open, they start finding that pressure. You see Grenouille already in electrical spots. The shoulder of the bandit, the C4's ripped, it goes away, but so does Aliu, and take it down off the board. And now in a 4 versus 5 in favor of the attack, but they've been made to work for it. Grenouille put in the shift in though, finds gold as well. Now a 5 versus 3, we've seen No Offense try and cover back to the 4, but they haven't made it happen. Rusty's going to start things off though, finding the head of Zarino. And now we see Kesko start to rotate around, finds a kill with the SMG-12 as well. This feels like it might just swing around like that grandfather clock we've been talking about. As Grenouille and Kodaft will both fall.
Things swinging back and forth. Both teams finding impact, but battling back as the flank comes through from Roos and Ketsko. Flashbangs are going to come out, but this is a warning you're trying to flashbang. They do manage to get inside command off the back of those flashes, and the case is starting to be stuck. A little bit of distance between that case and Roos, but cover is not good enough. Ketsko taking down Ramza, and Keo is the last one alive. Not in a great position here. He's stuck all alone inside of that command room bomb site. He can take his time. He's going to reload that LMG and look to re-engage with these fights. Lots of time with which to work. Going to play it slow. Creeping forward, spotted on the bulletproof cam, position known. Now, all No Offense need to do is engage this player together at the right time, use their numbers to their advantage. Continuing to look to see if he can take out that camera so that there is no info, and does pop a Goyo canister to make things a little bit more difficult for this defensive side to push back into the bomb site. Rotation is going to be open. He finds the headshot onto the first. Will he be taken down? My stream is frozen. I can't see.
He goes so
Going to engage with the ward instead.
He's not able to find it. Casco's able to find that kill, and that is quickly No Offense going up to match point and taking a lead for the first time. And could have come so close. They could have had that opportunity to get that round in the board. I don't even think they should have killed the Goyo, but that is a No Offense fine match point.
It got exciting there for a second, and then my entire stream just completely stops moving. I thought for a second that Kesko was going to get that over the line, but No Offense, dragging it back, giving themselves match point after having lost that match point before the rehouse. Sfam, feeling a little rattled here. I don't even know what to say.
Yeah, that wasn't it for them. I mean, they lost down through these key gunfights. They got it into a 3 versus 3. They were able to really start to find themselves in a good spot, and as a result, they could have had it. They could have opened things up. They had electrical control, they had connector, but then they just lost these gunfights. The flank watch wasn't being watched over towards that connector side because that's how Zarino got taken down. And you feel like this might have struck to the core, like you say, of Sfam. Now they are going to have to attack what is considered one of the easier sites of the 3, this tertiary bomb site. We've seen it before, we'll see it again. Maybe today, maybe, probably not, but we'll see it again. This site, again, like I said, it's our top floor take all the way.
I like the fact that No Offense is choosing... Oh, actually, I suppose they don't have a choice. They actually have to go to this tertiary site after winning those last 2 sites in a row. Regardless, I do like the fact that they're going to this site. They were not winning that basement bomb site nearly as much as they should have been for being their secondary bomb site. And I love the lineup that they're bringing along. The Solus plus the Pulse to be able to play Plantinile in the late round. What they'll do is they'll extend top floor. They'll do a little bit of a minor contest up there. They won't fight too hard for the space. And what they've got is the late round tools to be able to deal with that plant that Sfam is going to be forced to attempt at a certain point. Alejandro looking again to try this bandit trick. He was unbelievably successful last round, denying 1 thermite charge and 2 different fuse charges.
Yeah.
Let's see if he's able to hit this time.
Have another try. We'll be able to find that fuse charge, but the breach charge will go off, and that will be a much more successful attempt for the side of Sfam Esports. Realistically, though, it's not that top floor strike. It's not as impactful as a kill. Casco, not looking at the angle that Granui is holding, will be taken away arguably quite free as that top floor starts to feel a little bit more claustrophobic for defense. As we see 1 minute 50 seconds left, the garage control is still there. They have these long lines of sight that they're looking to keep control of, and as a result, Russell will try and find a pick up towards IT. Doesn't find a body there just yet, and now the attackers still have to deal with these players. Drones below can spot the Solace. They don't know about the Pulse in the basement. That's going to be so much more important late round.
Always ironic, a Solus being spotted on the drone, but Zarino is just sitting here on cams. Zarino, you got the shotgun, blasts him through the floor, but no! Doesn't decide to commit to the fight, and Zarino will live to fight another day, but it got scary for a moment there. I thought Solus was about to pick a free one up.
Exactly. Russell will also drop down as well, giving that top floor control to the attackers, but with 1 minute left on the clock, they're not really trading it that bad. Here will get down from the drop and will lose a lot of HP, and that is really unfortunate because in the late round, that's going to count for everything. It's going to count when it comes to the last second. Gold with that shotgun and with that pulse scanner will be looking for the kill. The C4 goes out, finds one, but Granui has an answer of their own. Looks for the second kill towards storage, but isn't able to find it. And now we see Alio going back to the top floor, looks at the gunfight, finds Granui, looks for another one, but can they find the player on Raptors with this little HP? It's not looking good, but if they can just distract that Thatcher on that top floor, we can really open things up for Isaiah. this gunfight isn't going to try and take it just yet. Kodav gets taken down. It's down to the Pulse and the Bandit. And now you expect Bandit to start dropping down. The shotgun from Gold finds Kilo. And now the 2 versus 2. 20 seconds left. The plan has to start going down. But Sereno can't do it. Not with the Pulse playing down below. But Alan O is playing nearby. Asaya has the information. They know where these players are, and that's it. It's all down to the 1 versus 2. It's 6-5, and it feels like No Offense are going to close this round down. The C4 goes up. They have to stick the plan, and as the clock hits 000, Gold's going to give the call, and the round and map is going to end. No Offense take Nighthaven Labs.
Oh my god, Gold downstairs in the basement, winning the round for his team not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 separate times, denying the plant attempt out of Sfam. Oh my tragedy, heartbreak for them. Being on match point to losing that round because of the fact that they were running some illegal skins, to No Offense, bringing it back and winning 3 in a row to get it over the line. Excellent work out of them. All credit goes to No Offense. I am blown away by what I witnessed inside that last round.
I think I did as well. No offensive, really, like, even just from the mental and mechanical side of things, that break worked out really well for them with the host. This is something where they're feeling a lot more confident, they're feeling a lot more refreshed, and now they're winning the gunfight. So going into Lair, they're going to be a lot more confident. SFAM, they're going to be singing a bit. Going into this next map's going to be quite painful for them.
Yeah, you got to imagine that's like a backbreaker for SFAM. You have so much momentum on your side. You've reached match point, and then all of a sudden things are being thrown your way that you have no control. I mean, like don't run the skins, obviously, but it's not happening inside the server, and it's really a momentum killer. Having to have that reset, going from winning rounds in convincing fashion. I mean, essentially flawless rounds back to
Yeah.
back before that one that came down to a 1v1 at the last second, but like that was weird. That isn't a normal thing that we'd expect. That was a little bit, I felt like overconfidence almost. But
Yeah.
overall, yeah, no offense. Looking good, especially in those last couple of rounds.
Yeah, hopefully they'll be able to continue on to Lair, whereas SFAM need to find some of that passion they had in that first map. Now, though, we are going to be taking a short break before we get onto that map, and this one is scheduled, so we will be back shortly, and we will be getting back to you with all the action on Lair very soon. My oh my, what a first map to start things off, High Bear. It has been absolutely insane. But no offense, will take up Nighthaven Labs. So, well, as much as I'd like to talk about the past, we're going to start looking towards the future. And the future of Siege has found itself in Lair, and that's where we find ourselves for our second map of the day. No offense, this is their map pick as well. So if you take a quick look at the map bands, you can see that SFAM wanted to go to Nighthaven. They were confident going there. But now they have to, they've lost that map. They lost their pick. Now they have to go over towards Lair. As a result, because they're going over towards Lair now, that means that they're going on to No Offense's pick. No Offense are going to pick that because they're feeling confident. They're feeling good. And if the last couple of rounds we saw on that map are rated to go by, they're definitely feeling that. And they're looking to keep that momentum going. As well as that, with the bracket, if we just bring that up, flash it up across your screens, just so you can see where we stand in the kind of overall picture of everything before we get this game started. You can see that right now we are in the 1-0 group at the moment, with No Offense and SFAM both winning their games from last week, from the first round of Swiss, and going up to the 1-0 bracket. Both of them looking to go to that 2-0 bracket, joining Ghost Army and the other team that's there so far. I believe that's Sync. Only one team can make that happen. The other one has to join Molotov Gang, and I believe that's Entropy, if I'm not, or not Entropy. It's some interesting logos. I do like them, to be fair, but
I can't help you with this. This is my first week on ESA this season.
yeah, that's going to be Nexus 77. There we go. So Molotov Gang and Nexus 77, both 1-for-1 at the moment. One's got to go up, one's got to go down, and then tomorrow we have LDL going up against Entropy. And it's a very exciting time. I'm really looking forward to seeing it happening because I'm going to be here tomorrow watching it as well. But before we go any further, Lair, it's one of those maps that I feel teams, like you say, teams are still figuring out, aren't they?
Yeah, Lair is a new map. It's something that's not been in the pool particularly long, which means teams who don't pick it tend to be at an even bigger disadvantage than they would be on other maps that they
Yeah.
maybe have more experience with, that they've practiced, that they've played more and ranked. Lair's new. It's an uncharted territory for a lot of teams, especially in the competitive sense. I don't know if SFAM have a plan going into this map, but you have to imagine that, no offense, if they're the ones picking this, they're comfortable, they're well practiced, and this should be going their way.
Yeah, exactly. Because they're not going to pick a map if they're not confident taking it. If they don't know how to attack, defend, and what the kind of core principles of a map are. For the same vein of, you wouldn't pick a map like Half Dostoevsky if you didn't know what you're doing. You wouldn't pick a map like Border if you didn't know how to frag out, and because that is how the map kind of plays out a bit more naturally. Lair, it's a map that you'd only pick if you know what you're doing. And with it being new, like you say, that might be, no offense, trying to catch Sfam out. And if that is something that they can do, I feel like they can run away with it. In the rounds that they won against Sfam, they had to pull off some magic in those rounds, and they did. If they could get a strong start on Lair when they are going on to, I believe it's the defense first, actually, then they can really get a really strong start and hopefully not give SFAM that room to breathe so that they can get catch up essentially.
Yeah, and I mean, with no offense starting on defense, that does tend to be the favorite side on layer as well. I'm not liking the odds here for SFAM. I'm thinking we might be seeing a 2-0 inside of this series.
Yeah. It doesn't feel like it should be. I mean, seeing the close game that we saw in Lighthaven
Yeah.
first, it really doesn't feel like it should be that close, but it might be. So a map like Lair, there's a lot of verticality around it. I feel like Damus is an operator we're going to see quite a lot anyway over the next couple of maps because Damus is such a strong operator regardless. But I kind of want to think about bans because I feel like a Maverick ban just wouldn't go as effective in a map like this, whereas a K ban can still quite have a substantial impact. So on the attacking side, I'd probably be expecting to see one of these roam clear operators taken away because that was something No Offense were able to do so easy. Or SFAM, sorry, were able to do so easily that, no offense, I don't think we're able to replicate on their attack.
Yeah, vertical ops, roam clearing ops, both excellent on layer because the fact the map is so big and has just an absurd amount of destructible flooring. There's hardly anywhere you can stand on any of the bomb sites that doesn't have either a destructible floor or a destructible ceiling above or below you. So would not be surprised seeing them get rid of maybe the Demos, which is kind of like a little bit of double duty, playing that vertical play and also helping out with roam clear. But
Yeah.
there's lots of options here. The Dokkaebi was brought in almost every round by both teams. That can be super disruptive. Maybe we'll see more play into the hard breach brands. But again, with Layer being such a new map, it's hard to say exactly what teams are going to do, especially teams
Yeah.
who are throwing out unorthodox bans on Nighthaven Labs.
Yeah.
I don't really have any predictions for this ban phase.
I mean, we have seen a total of 11 rounds on there so far in ESA Season 10, and 5 of them have gone in favor of the attack, and 6 have gone in favor of the defense. So just like Nighthaven, we're seeing a
Defensive sided.
pretty defender-sided side, and what you'd expect to see. I mean, as Family Sports starting on the defense, then they're going to look to try and take control of that as much as they can. And no offense, they're going to get a strong start. They're going to go in with that confidence of winning out that last round because you've got to remember, SFAM, there's that mental game around it as well. These players have just had what they definitely feel was a map they deserve to win taken away from them at the end. They're not going to be happy about that. That might affect their mental. And when they do start to go into this second map, they're going to have that mentality of, we are a map down. We need to change that around. So they might get aggressive. They might make plays that might not need to do. They might break some of that consistency that has kept them going so strong. That's realistically what no offense looking to do. They're looking to just shake things up in their head.
That being said, SFAM are still some very talented gunners. We saw a lot
Yeah,
of rounds that looked absolutely unwinnable for them, or like some massive swings within the round that were being brought out just by some impact plays by SFAM players. I think
yeah.
back to that clutch, the 1v3 that we saw Thermite pull off on that upstairs
Oh,
bomb
yeah.
site, for example, or a couple of other clutches. The basement bomb site where the Jackal was able to pick up the last remaining player to get that over the line. They're talented players. It's absolutely possible for them to take some rounds off of no offense here, but it's going to be difficult. These are good teams, but really, you got to expect on such a new map, on such an unfamiliar map for a lot of teams, it feels like it's got to go the way of the team that chose it.
Exactly. I mean, as Sfam, they're going to go into a mode they're probably not comfortable on. Like you say, let's take a look at these operator bands. We've talked about a lot of the theory behind it and kind of what we players might expect and might be feeling. So let's take a look at what we are going to see. I expected to probably see that Maverick slip through and probably see a Deimos or a Blitz get banned out. In this case, it's going to be the Monty, which makes sense. No offense. I think overall we saw a lot of Monty coming out from no offense, whereas S-Fan wanted to run the Blitz. So that doesn't feel like a ban that was really going to affect them when you think about the later rounds.
Monty is a good operator for layer. The ability to clear those hallways by just hiding behind the shield is very powerful. Seeing them take that off the board absolutely makes sense to me. Sfam don't want to deal with just a really assertive roam clear out of this no offense
Yeah.
roster going into their attacking side. The Dokkaebi also gotten rid of. So both operators that specialize in dealing with clears, in moving players around, in controlling kind of what's going on around the map. This will make attacking a little bit harder as we get into this
Yeah.
layer side, but making defense a little bit easier. That mirror is taken down as well.
Yeah, exactly. Now the mirror really just excels at taking, just dominating those high pressure corridors that you see the attackers try and take control of, especially with a Monty. So that mirror ban makes a lot of sense for no offense. They don't want to deal with that. They don't want to have to worry about going into a choke point, for example, that hallway towards towards op room. They don't want to deal with that and then push towards the mirror and then have all their information given away and killed to a C4. It's going to get banned as well, rounding out our defensive bans for this side. And nothing really surprises me. The Dokkaebi makes so much sense because it's the global ability, and when it's so awkward for roamers to get back to site and rotate to where they need to be to have an impact play. Having an operator that can just trigger a a phone call is so difficult. And it's a very interesting icon for IQ there. I won't lie.
Oh, the fighting one? Is that from the elite skin? I think it's the
No, no,
elite
no.
skin.
It's I don't remember the blue icon. It is from the elite skin. Yeah.
Oh, wait, what is
Don't
going on
know.
with IQ? That's the Buck
Yeah.
logo.
Yeah. That's
Wait.
interesting.
Maybe a last minute switch. That's an interesting look. I've not seen that one before. We'll see in a minute
Literally
if they have brought along the
unplayable.
IQ or the Buck once we load into the rounds, but
It's the bug.
is it the Buck?
Yeah,
So strange
it
seeing
was the
both of them at the
bug,
same time.
but now it's going to be the fuse again. Now Jackal again, kind of look for the room clear. The Glass is an interesting operator to join in, especially when we don't see a Warden on the side of Sfam. So bringing that Glass, using those smokes, it's essentially the opposite of why I said we saw Mirror get banned. The Glass is able to take control of these long lines of sight that just can't be contested by the other side because you know that there's a Glass staring at you. You know that that player can see through the smoke, and you know that when they do peek you, they're going to be ready with the trigger finger. And the fact that it is a semi-auto weapon as well makes it all the more powerful. I would expect to see the Glass playing on the op window here, just to make sure that when you see this doorway that Bonzo is stood by at the moment, just to make sure that the defenders cannot apply as much pressure as they're going to want to from that spot. Now, though, let's just see how this plays out.
I have another theory about the glass. That
Yeah,
breach that leads into sight, into our 6 room, or command room, apologies, is a very difficult spot to push. As the attacker, you really struggle to get inside of there because you have to clear multiple angles at once, and the defenders
yeah,
have a very long angle that they can hold you from. We do see the round get started. Roos and Granui trading out one apiece. Gold going down, Granui going down elsewhere. Both operators carrying very different values inside this round.
yeah.
Granui with the set and forget utility. Gold going down with those Finka boosts, that universal gadget, which can be used to heal up players in the late round should they take damage. And with the Goyo and smoke, ooh, that feels like a big one to lose.
Yeah, definitely. All damage is now permanent for both sides. Whereas before, Finker could just give the stim, get another player back in the fight, and really add to an aggressive attacking mindset that they'd look to bring. That breach is going to get opened up now. We will see that come out from Aljo. Aljo is stuck in an awkward spot where if this is someone trying to flank it, is down to code after without that gunfight. Will be able to rotate out safely, and this just means that it's a lot harder for the defenders to sit there comfortably and look towards op area. They will start to drone in, we'll start to put that pressure on, and Kesko will look to think about, well, can we start making some presence here? What can we do? Is there any information giving away that might lead to my death if I walk in this area like a C4? Now, though, as they get that joining down done and that due diligence sorted out as well, they're going to have pressure over towards the green window. The laser sight has just given us away, and we are going to be kicked out of the game, and that means we're not going to see what happens just yet. So we are going to come back to our wonderful faces just for the time being. Let's talk about what we're seeing in that round. We saw two players drop out very quickly, but no real gains for the attack.
Yeah, the attack was going relatively slowly, but I think that is largely because they just don't need that much for that attack. One thing that really confused me that I wasn't quite sure I agreed with was the fact that SFAM decided to barricade off operations room and not contest the space whatsoever,
Yeah.
opening the door for no offense to work inside, use the ace to be able to open up the long angle through the hallway, which just enables them to go for that plant right away. If you're no offense, the only thing you need, you've already opened the command room breach. The only thing you need to do is deny the hallway walk, deny the mezzanine walk, and you can smoke in, use
Yeah.
the glass to be able to cross into command, hold the angles deep in sight, and then plant behind the smokes as thermite. Things are looking scary here if you're SFAM, and I think we will come back to, no offense, having either a very dominant position in the round or having it won out already.
Yeah, I mean, as long as we can see, no offense, identify that there's two players over towards the green side, it's very hard for those players to rotate and put a big amount of pressure on that glass if they take op room. So if they do go for that breach op room push, then those two roamers are gonna have to try and get back to site. And like I said, the roamers, it's very easy to cut these players off. It's like the cafe staircases. It's so easy to cut these roamers off if you know what you're doing. And I feel like, no offense, picking this map will know exactly what they're expecting. So I think I've got to agree with you on that one. Even though they're on the attack, I expect to see them taking control of that first round and starting things off. And I think as we take a look at this one, I think we are going to take a little bit of a breather, just to kind of, or at least we're going to give it a bit of time while we try and get this sorted. We are trying to get the action back to your screens and see what we can do, because we understand you want to watch a game. We want to watch it as well because it's been so exciting. It's been so tight in that first game. I'm really excited to see what comes out of there.
I will say, no offense, already seem to have a great idea of how to approach this map. You can
Yeah,
tell that this is their map pick. They have an understanding of the fundamentals of what they need to do to get inside of that site to start working towards a plant. And SFAM, while they do have the right idea in terms of operators, in terms of utility, the gadgets they need to bring along, the stuff they can use to actually deny that plant, I worry for them because against an attacking team that knows what they're doing, it can often feel impossible to defend.
yeah,
And no offense, so far throughout this first round, look excellent.
yeah,
A glass is such a
yeah.
cool operator to bring along.
And it also it speaks volumes to me again, because the Glaz isn't an operator that you bring unless you have a reason to bring Glaz, unless you practice with that operator and you understand what takes you want to go through. Yeah, in ranked, you might say, right, I'll spring a Glaz, we'll shake it up a bit. In a competitive scene, you bring it for a reason. Nothing is that should be done right on a good team. Nothing is done by mistake. It is all intentional. So that Glaz is going to be brought out for a specific reason. They've thought out how they're going to play it, and it's exciting because it means, no offense, know what they want to do and they know how they want to attack the site. The round is probably over now. I think we're going to have to go with our little headcanon of, no offense, taking that victory, which means that's fine. They'd have another opportunity to go above or down below. We'll find out quite soon if we're able to get this going, but it doesn't seem like we're having any joy at the moment. Let's talk about the basement. I mean, we talked about that top floor site. Let's talk about the basement. A lot of verticality there. And again, roaming, maybe it can have a massive impact, but it can go horribly wrong. It's high risk, high reward, isn't it?
Yeah, the big thing about that basement bomb site is it is easy for the attackers to set up cutoffs on that basement level. It's not really a basement per se, as opposed to many other maps inside of Siege where there
Mm,
are not cutoffs into the basement floor. The basement on layer has access points from the outside over towards warehouse and over towards that lab side, the bottom green stairs, I believe, is the staircase,
mm,
where you can hold through the window, where you can cut those players off no matter which direction the roamers decide to attempt their fall, unless the site hatches are open, obviously. But even so, roaming is difficult. The fall offs aren't always obvious.
yeah.
And if you don't roam, there's so much verticality that things feel oppressive, like they're going to fall apart, like you won't be able to survive the onslaught of all the verticality brought along by the attack.
I,
It's an
I,
interesting map.
yeah. Again, it comes down to, I feel like there's the preparation behind it. That's why we're seeing them go in. And it's a map that I do enjoy because, like you say, it's a new map. It's one that's come in and teams are still figuring it out. There's nothing certain. There's no kind of set way to do things. For example, CAF, you realize there's one kind of main way to approach it, or then just go for a second one. And when you think about maps like Clubhouse, it's pretty much set. You have to do something. If you don't do it, you're probably not going to win the round. So realistically, it's nice to see teams go to these sites where, for example, SFAM, they might find something that works in this. Diamonds are forged under pressure. They might find something that works out, but there is a lot going against them. The odds certainly aren't in their favor because, like you say, when there's a good opposite team that know what they're doing on a map like Lair, it can feel very oppressive. It can feel very claustrophobic. And that's what SFAM are probably going to feel in that first round. I'm not sure who went out that first round, but I know they've paused it
Yeah.
so that we can at least get back into you. But I can confirm it is a one round went in favor of, no offense.
Confirmed. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
So exactly
locked
what we
in.
expected, what we were talking about. They had a clear plan for how they wanted to approach that site. Obviously, from the start of the round, the operator choices tell me they know what they're doing. They're ready for it. They've got the tools for the job. And it seems like, obviously, we didn't see what happened, but it seems like they were able to effectively employ whatever their strategy happened to be. We have a good idea
Yeah,
of what that was. We saw the Glaz and the Thermite stacking up with smoke grenades towards the breach. Ace was working towards operations. That was about to be opened up. And then the Buck was lurking down below, lower green, ready to walk up and just backstab those players, make sure that nobody
yeah,
was playing those windows, preventing the Glaz and the Thermite from retreating from that breach once that plant went down. So,
exactly.
no offense, with some great ideas so far. And I guess we'll have to see what they decide to bring along for this next site, how they decide to approach it, and if they have quite as convincing a plan moving forward.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing for me. Now, I think if I take a look there, yeah, so I think they are going to go back to the same site. So, from what I can tell, I feel like as fun, they need to make some adjustments. I mean, they need to have some kind of something ready, maybe just Proxmines or Banshees or even a Legion, just something to make them aware that there's roamers down below. I know they spot that laser scanner or that laser sight, but realistically, something like that can't be relied upon when it comes down to the actual gunfights itself. Now, I'd like to see something like that again on that top floor, but again, it's very hard to tell what they need to improve on when we haven't seen how the round's gone through so far. But we do try our best. We try to paint a picture, so to speak. I know Granui would have definitely got an ace.
How do you not been
Godot,
first
Godot,
picks?
yep, definitely from the grave as well. But realistically, it's only so much we could say about a round we haven't seen. Maybe going back to that top floor, I I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see it for the first time for us, the second time for the players. We are going to have a short break while we just fill out this lobby, though. So don't go anywhere. We will be back soon. We probably should have seen this coming when we saw the IQ bulk logo, but oh well. We are back for the second time for these players and the first time for ourselves to this first site. We've only seen 2 kills so far, and now we are going to just see what happens. So like we said, no offense, they won that attacking round on R6 roof and offside. They won that out. They were able to take that control, and in doing so, are going to have to attack it again. Sfam Esports feeling confident. Like we said, they've only lost it out once, so they haven't lost it twice. If they lose this one, they've got to go below. But for now, we can try and do a bit of troubleshooting, a bit of theory crafting, see how we can fix this. I feel like, again, a little bit of pressure, a little bit of something, just aware of that bottom green side means that they can't pressure the upside. From the side of no offense, though, who won the round? Not really much change, is there? Okay. And as it seems to slow things down a little bit, it's all right because we're back now. And again, I feel going into this, I feel like no offense is going to come in quite confident. It's quite strong, quite comfortable. They're going to have that gridlock. That's going to come up that top three stairs. Then, as they go to operation side, they're going to have that player on the window, put that pressure on. Probably have that buckle look down below, which I feel like Sfam are probably going to be a little bit more attuned to and more aware of it, or at least a player pressure on that side. Gridlocks will go through with the track stingers. That means that they now have control of those windows, which means if that breach does open up, that's going to be so much more difficult for them to clear out. The room clear will start to take place, and we will see if they're able to take them out. But it seems like Pesco's just going to start walking in, I bet.
Look at this, how fast this is. Out of no offense, they've already taken control of operations. They've already taken control of Green Hall. They have pretty much everything they need to start moving towards this execute. The only step remaining is Alyo using that thermite to be able to open up that outside wall and making sure that there's nobody who's extended down below to be able to deny plant using C4s. Things are looking great for no offense so far, and I'm starting to get real worried for Sfam inside of this game. 2 rounds in a row where they're seemingly giving no offense everything they want.
Yeah, the main benefit that SFAM have at the moment is all players are alive and times down. So halfway through the round, that breach gets opened up. But you see already, Russum is doing a lot of work down below. They are getting that verticality in place, and Romza isn't feeling confident peeking these angles and holding these positions. forced into uncomfortable angles, forced into uncomfortable gunfights. That's what No Offense are going to try and capitalize on, and that's what Kesko's here for. Opening up that wall into CEO, Grenouille is going to be able to find that first pick, takes away the buck down below, and suddenly they can feel a little bit more comfortable. But Roms is going to get taken down as well, at least to 1 HP, if not more. And as a result, No Offense might start to really snowball off of this victory.
Things seemingly getting a little bit closer, but the bodies are actually falling in the favor of Sfam. So far, Grenouille takes down another one. The smoke's coming out, but the smoke's to counter. Kaiza has absolutely the tools that he needs to be able to force Alio to retreat back outside of that breach. And if you're this attack, if you're No Offense, you only have so many resources, so many attempts at this plant you can go for. Second set of smokes about to come out, but you got to imagine between the echo cams, between the smoke grenades, there isn't going to be enough for them to actually effectively get this plant down. Plant denied once off that echo drone. And as the timer continues to tick down, it's going to be Zarino who picks up the last remaining player, walking up that mezzanine and taking the head off the ace.
Yeah, and denying Grenouille the ace as well, a really big round coming out for Grenouille there. Shut down in that first round, but able to really step up in the second one. They got rid of that vertical player, then they were able to use the verticality, because it goes both ways to pick off these players when they go for the attack. The smoke able to slow down the breach, stop that push going through, allowing Grenouille to get underneath and start applying that pressure. Very well played from them. I want to see that again when we go back to that site. But now, though, we are going to head down below, and the Banshee and the Fenrir combo, as well as the Koyo, they're just going to slow things down, and that's what the name of the game is.
I will say, this attacking lineup, we don't know for sure if it's going to be stuck yet, but the Sens, a very interesting operator that we don't tend to see too often. Recently received a couple of buffs, so their gadget now able to deny thermal utility from seeing through the walls. Things like the bulletproof camera, for example, or the warden, whose goggles can see through smoke grenades, but cannot see through a sense wall. Both gadgets being brought along by Sfam, and you gotta wonder, if they're employed to deny some sort of plant behind cover of smokes, for example, will they actually have an answer for the sense with these changes?
I mean, that's the big question, isn't it? We'll see the Bucks start to walk in, get the utility, get the goal canisters away. Does give away the position, but doesn't give away anything else much more than that. And now the Romans are just aware of another angle they need to clear out. The side of No Offense, they have the operators to do it. They don't have the Daniels or the Jackal, but they do have the Buck, the Twitch, the Map, and most importantly that sense, like you say, really good at isolating those defenders and putting them in good spots. I don't know about Keo, over towards the green stairs, who has walked up. And this was something we were talking about on the flip side, is the flank watch. Now, they are aware of Romza. They do try and do a little bit of damage, but it doesn't fall onto that player. But Keo with the flank might be the one to turn things around here. Kodaft will get taken down by the Vigil on the flank. Romza swings out, finding Kesko as well. And now the minute 50 on the clock. Preston goes down as well. Now, 3 attackers remain, and Sfam seemingly have this round a little bit more in control for themselves. You will see Alio going down onto that site, but doing so alone and without the support of the players or with that case. The rest of the team will try and join them out, but they don't have the case, and they do not have enough time to really coordinate together and how to play. And now the split push will go through. The flashbang goes through. The Warden's playing there. Like you said, it doesn't matter. The shotgun goes out, but Alio out of nowhere comes and gets a kill and opens things up.
Things getting a little bit closer here. No Offense finding a massive gap in the defensive matrix. I believe it was Alio lurking into sight, managing to find the pick onto ESA. And ESA, while he swung out with that shotgun and did a ton of damage onto Gold, Gold does persist. He stays alive, ready to engage with more fights later on. But here's the thing. Despite the fact that No Offense have full control of the bomb site, they lack control of one crucial aspect, the case. They do not have the bomb to be able to go and get this plant down, but they do have some info on Zarino downstairs. They toss out the flashbang, and Alio so much impact inside this round, finding himself another kill. Absolutely devastating for the side of Sfam, and the numbers have completely swapped now. The advantage has fallen on the attacking side. Some damage goes out. Leo involved in a fight, surviving though on 50 HP, but he's being surrounded on all sides. This is going to come down to wherever the first point of contact comes from. But with only 20 seconds remaining, things are getting really tight here. And Ramza just barely surviving, flips around, hits the headshot onto Gold. 8 seconds remaining. These fights are going to matter. All
Oh,
Rumza has to do is
no!
stay alive. TK to try and destroy them now, the Banshee, but Alio doesn't have time to get to site, unable to sprint, unable to make it all the way there. The round goes again to the defense.
Or in the Banshee downs the teammate. Just walk into another Banshee as well. You won, but at what conceivable cost? And very well played from the defense there because, yeah, we did see, no offense, start to bring it back on that bottom floor. They were able to get those plays around and get rid of Rumza. But there was a reason they were able to just walk through sight. That was because the case was above. Well, not Romza, sorry, but because Romza and Keo had that position up on that top floor, they had the case, they were playing together. That meant that they could just go upstairs. At that point, like you say, it was down to where the first gunfight came from. For the side of the defense, it was just down to time. How much could they waste? Could they get kills for it? Because when it got to that 8 seconds, yeah, they had the case, but Alio could not get to sight in time. And that's how they went out the round.
I can't believe Gold did not manage to take out the Lunacy on that long angle as we walked in through Armory, I believe is the name of the room. Shooting range? Over from shooting range.
Yeah.
Oh, I really thought he was gonna get that pickup. And then they would have had enough time to be able to pick up that case and get back to site. It wouldn't have been like a low time win condition. It would have been so much closer of a round. But I think actually possible for No Offense. But as things stand, as they fall, No Offense not having enough time, dropping that case in a terrible spot in the early round. Sfam understanding their win condition, playing around it, and making sure that they secure that round. Excellent work out of them, and I gotta say, they're impressing me a little bit better than I was expecting them to be.
Well, I mean, we've got to remember this was a very dominant side on the side of Nighthaven, and the feels of the sides and kind of feel kind of similar. And it does transfer. I mean, there's gunfights that those skills do transfer. Being able to gun, it doesn't matter what map you're on. If you can frag out, you can frag out. If you can click heads, you can click heads. So that is something that Sfam are able to bring across. And on the defense as well, you do expect them to win out these rounds. Like we said, this is historically a defender-sided map, and the one time we've seen it so far in this season. Going forward, though, this is essentially a top floor site again. They need to deal with that breach. They need to get that open. And now, because they don't have the thermite on the breach, Alio will get that case open into CEO. But it's going to be a vault one. It's going to be so much harder to push in. And that means they will need the support from Kesko, who is going to struggle to get into that opposite room without any support from the rest of the team. Again, though, watch for the flank.
A little bit of exchange between Kesko and Granui, but Alio will be the first one to go down. Granui finding a different fight elsewhere, taking down that striker, but he will be treated out by Kesko over towards that operations position. The push is starting to come through. The attack looking to get inside, but Kesko will be down seemingly through the floor. I'm not entirely sure where that came through. Likely recoverable in this position, but fights are going through elsewhere. Our 6 room, contested space. ESA all alone up here trying to fight for his life. The flashbang comes through. He's able to dodge it using the desk, using that chair. Keeps his vision intact and keeps his gun up, trained on that doorway towards the mezzanine. Ready to be pushed by Kodaf, but slow. They take a breather, they reset. They don't want to move too quickly because they don't want to lose any more bodies. They want to make sure they can secure their teammate before moving on. Ixa, a little bit of a shot, ringing out, position given away. Now known, Roos takes a ton of damage, but Ixa continuing to press forward, pressing his advantage, seemingly identifying the isolated player, but Roos backing up, understanding he's being pushed, and managing to win that fight, giving his team the advantage, despite the low HP of 2 members.
Yeah, now, but look at the time that's been wasted. 40 seconds ticking on the clock, and No Offense have only just taken top floor control. Now they need to start verticality and start planning this attack. But they don't have the information in place just yet. They don't have the flank cameras watching it. And yeah, they're going to force out Romza into a position, out of the position they want to be in. But look at the setup. They're ready because this is the execute. It's going to have to come into that shooting range side workshop area. And now the armor is where they're going to focus on angles with that UMP. The flashbangs will start to go through as the plant does start to go down, and we will see a player tank down, but nothing, no kill just yet. Sereno looking to take control of the vert, has to stop that plank going down as Kadar finds a kill. Rusty gets one of their own, and Kodaf has another one. No Offense, again, can take that top floor site, and they can transfer it down to that armory site. Now they're going to need to try again on the top floor. Very well played so far, and I feel like this could keep going.
It's been close, but they do manage to get it over the line. No Offense, with a really nice reset in the mid round, understanding they have a player trapped.
Yeah.
They don't need to force the fights. They have a down player. Let's pick him up. Let's take our time. This dude's isolated. He's stuck in command. He's not leaving. So Let's surround him. Let's use our flashbangs. Let's use our utility to engage him on our terms so that we have an advantage when that fight comes through. It was a 4v1 against the mute of apologies of Jigsaw, or no, it was ESA up on that top floor.
Yeah.
Excellent work out of No Offense, understanding their wave condition and making sure to play it as a team. I love watching team play inside of Siege. It's one of the most beautiful things in the world, and I gotta say, No Offense, they've got mountains of it.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Now, going on to this site at that even scoreboard, you have to remember, no offense, have that map in pocket so far of the Nottinghaven Labs, and they're looking to just shut things out in a swift 2-0. However, Sfam, they need to keep this going to go on to Chalet. And Chalet feels like a map that could go either way from what we've seen so far. The next couple of rounds are going to decide whether we see Chalet go a specific way or whether we can make a prediction about that for now. Going back to the top floor site, I'm not expected to see too much change from Sfam. They won out the second time of asking on this site, but no offense, we're able to win out the first one. And I feel like Grenouille, if they can shut Grenouille down on this site, no offense, have a really good chance at the start.
I will say, No Offense, though, they're bringing along an entirely different lineup as to last time. And Kodaf bringing along not just the Ying, but the Ying shotgun. Excellent in those close range engagements, able to do damage to people in the tight hallways of Lair. I'm excited to see how this pans out. What an intriguing lineup being brought out by the attack.
Yeah, and I like the Grim. I love the Grim and the Ying because these are operators that force the defenders to hold their position, hold their ground, and be in the worst possible spot that they can. Especially without Warden on the board, it's a similar principle to why we saw Glaz. With the Ying, get the Candelas in, get the flashbangs. You force roamers out of the position, or they're stuck and full blind. As a result, that means your cutoffs and your executing elements can really start to apply the pressure, hopefully find a free kill that doesn't lead to any actual repercussions in terms of gunfights.
It's definitely an interesting methodology. I mean, those two operators really serve as initiators. They're the people that you push behind. They use their utility, the Grim, the Yings, to make it just terrible for the defense to hold their position. You toss those in, you do some damage to the setup, and the defense has to come up with an answer. They have to engage, but an answer already found. Kodaf going down early, not staying alive. We will not see those Yings get employed going into the late round. So it's going to see what...
Looking at this, I mean, we're a minute down now. With 1 minute on the clock, Gold is on their own because a fast push from No Offense has not worked out. Sfam, they were ready for it. They have the case in op, and that means that, or not opside, but that does mean that Gold is in such an awkward spot. The smoke canisters will start to come out, will get the team kill, but with the time left on the clock, it's a sacrifice you're willing to make. You lose that player, you still have two in defense. You have an Echo, a Fenrir, and a Smoke, and a Smoke who still has the smoke canister. Realistically, as the next one goes off, there's 40 seconds left, the canister goes off. They know that you're there. You're going to rotate around because you can't push through the smoke. And now Sfam just have to play it safe. They waste time, 30 seconds. They're going to go to that. Gold is going to walk into them.
Slowly creeping forward, Gold knows that there really isn't a chance in this round, and No Offense, losing another one of their attacking rounds, despite having some really intriguing lineups. We don't really get to see it employed the way they intended. Things fall apart for them in the mid-round, and Gold is just left grasping at straws. He's playing the F2 again. The last time I saw him on this gun, he managed to do a ton of damage, but something tells me this time he's just not going to manage it. Ramza's going to be the one to collect him, swinging out, picking up that last kill with that Bandit MP7 running the Racer skin. Oh my goodness, I didn't realize they had clout like that. And Sfam will at very least manage to tie this first half with the potential to win it with a 4-2.
Yeah, very well played from them so far. Now they're going to head back down to that basement. And again, it was about the roamers. That was the big impact factor for the side of Sfam. No offense, they weren't aware of that flank. I mean, they could have dealt with Rom. They could have dealt with Romza, but it was Keo. With Keo being caught on that flank, going in on that flank and not being known about, that was what really caught No Offense off guard and led to the round going in favor of Sfam. Once that case got dropped. Looking for definitely some adaptation from No Offense. I'd like to see W like a Nomad or a Gridlock again being used, or at least just flank cameras going down and being watched, actively used by the people that are dead, by the people that play the support roles. If that happens, they can quite possibly get a good attack onto the round. We didn't really see what they had planned for this bottom floor site because it died so quickly.
Yeah, and this time, again, they are bringing along a slightly different lineup. Oh, the Raura, for a second, I thought she was going to be brought along, but no, Lion instead. Really focusing on a roam clearing sort of lineup. between that line, between that blitz, I expect that no offensive recognize the fact that there are a bunch of roamers on this site and they want to deal with it. That being said, this could also very much factor itself into a rush. That's yet to be seen, but just based off of those operators, it really could go either way, either super fast or
Yeah.
super slow.
There is a chance because, like you say, the lion it causes that pace shift in the round. The attackers feel like they have to take control and take advantage of the time they have. The goal canister's going to put a lot of pressure on it, and with Isaiah and Granui both just sat there, they're able to just pick up the kills. They're going to force the attackers out of position, and that means that that round is pretty much over. Russe on their own over towards Workshop, trying to make something happen for the last round, but no offense here. But as they put the pre-fire out and Sfam starts to circle like bloods in the like shark in the water, sharks in the water. They're this round's pretty much over. Aside will get taken down, denied that quad kill that they were so desperately hunting. But now things just slowed down. Sfam again, just like the last round. They don't need to push. They're not going to. They have pace, time, and map control on their side. This round's as good as over before they go into their attack.
What are we thinking? 1v5? Roos going to push forward, but my stream just died. I'm sorry. I can't guess.
I mean, I feel like there's a good opportunity. They had the potential to do it, but no, the Yellow Stairs player just shut that down. It was never going to happen. Realistically, a 4-2 split on the defense. Sfam doing quite well. The big question now is, now that we see no offense go on to the defense, how are they going to be ready for Sfam? Are Sfam going to have an attack that's just coordinated as their defense? It's time to find out. Is their map pool as wide as they expect they should want it to be?
Yeah, defense is absolutely the favored side on layer. It's the one we're expecting them to win the most. No guarantees. Obviously, we're seeing a really nice defensive half out of Sfam. Seemingly, they've got a really good understanding of how to approach this map. But yeah, overall, I have been quite impressed with what I've seen so far out of Sfam. No offense, a little bit sloppy in some of those rounds. That last one especially, I'm left a little bit questioning what the thought process was if they'd actually done any droning, because bursting through a barricade with a Goyo canister on it is just never a good idea if you know that Goyo canister is there. No offense trying something. They did try and push through it. They did not make it through it.
Points for trying at least, but
I respect them committing. I truly do.
Well, now they're going to have to play the defense. Now they're going to have to show that they can, walk and talk. You'd expect them to do a lot better on this side. And realistically, when they swapped on Nighthaven, they did perform better when they went into the defense. So hopefully that will be the case for them today if you are a no offense fan. But if you're looking for Sfam, this is the moment that they keep that momentum going. They keep that control of what they've had so far. The operators on the lineup makes a lot of sense. Thatcher, Thermite, Flores, Blackbeard. Get the breach open. Flores denies utility, helps clearing out that operation side, and Blackbeard will go with it as well, using those Rotaro drones to back them up. And then you just have Granui down below with the bot playing that role they played on defense, just doing it on the attack.
Yeah, it's very much a similar methodology being brought along by Sfam as we saw being employed by No Offense. Similar operators, not identical, obviously. We especially are lacking the most notable operator, especially in those first couple of rounds, the Glaz. But
Yeah,
Buck to work below, people to get walls open, and then utility to be able to get into sight in the late round, being that shield that was Kilosa? Oh my goodness, is bringing along the Blackbeards. But yeah, similar utility, smokes. It's pretty default for the site, and I expect we will see a command take similar to the one that No Offense was trying to employ.
exactly. Now, as the utility starts to go off, you can see that, well, at this point, the defenders are going to start to feel that pressure. They're not going to be too pushed out of the situation. They're not going to feel too uncomfortable just yet. But the Flores drone does have that, because if they don't shoot those drones, they know utility's being lost or they're taking damage. Breach starts to open up. The bandit trick will come out just in time, just to start that from going off. But that is going to be Casco getting down. They're not going to be able to save that. And that is 1 free down that they've got. Redeem at any time within the next, 20 seconds.
Round continues here. Casco likely to be recoverable. I don't expect that Sfam are going to realize that he's injured, and they certainly won't be able to capitalize it as Casco is revived inside of the bomb site. Lucky to get away with his life. No team manages to get the advantage quite yet, and we do see a complete rotation by Sfam over towards the briefing side or the opposite side of the map, towards that north side, to make sure that nobody on No Offense is playing those windows, ready to deny the plant going down inside of command room. We'll see as the round continues what they're able to come up with, if they're able to find any picks. But for now,
Yeah, now things start to slow down a little bit more as Blackbeard starts to apply that pressure, but as the util starts to go on, no bullets will land from the gunshots that have been fired so far. And now we see that they're starting to apply that pressure again. They're starting to walk forward, but now the smoke canisters will start to come out high there. This is going to make it a lot harder for this attacking side to make something work. As the Terra drones will start to come through and apply that pressure, making it, trying to give them something to work with. And now we'll see. Start getting that damage down. Here we'll find Koda from down below. We'll be looking for another kill, but the defenders have to be careful.
terrible spot Kodaf found himself in. The floor is drone forcing him to move. The floor exploding beneath his feet from the buck of Granui, and things just seem to be falling apart for No Offense here. Their defensive matrix has been completely disrupted, and the players slowly forced back.
Exactly. The downs will come through. Keo will be able to find Iowa. And now in a 3 versus 5, the attackers are looking very, very strong here. Still have that Blackbeard. Still have the buck to force these defenders into uncomfortable situations. And the Flores to do as well doing that. C4 will go out, doesn't find enough damage. Keo will stay alive and does not have those frag grenades in pocket, but does have the information. Container finding Casco. Ruse has an answer, but in a 2 versus 4 with 30 seconds left, the attackers are going to start pushing it to site. Do they have the numbers to make it work? Yes, they do. But do they have the coordination? Will they have No Offense in such a difficult spot that they won't know what to do? And with No Offense still checking that breach, making sure there's no one there, that might be the perfect time just to strike. As we see Russo rotate towards connector, looking for that 15 seconds. They know they're going to be flanked. This is going to be such an important 10 seconds.
Bruce has the read. He understands that there's a player outside of that bathroom window. Will he be able to catch him is the question. Slowly, 10 seconds. As we get into this last couple of seconds around, we're going to see a smoke tossed out to try and deny the player, but Ramzan's going to be the one who wins that fight, and as the timer ticks down, Gold is the last to try and engage, but Zarina will be able to pick him up. The push coming through, the numbers are just too dominant on the side of Sfam. No Offense dropping bodies early on, and so far Sfam on this layer, seems like we might have been wrong about them. They seem to have a great read on how to approach this map.
Yeah, it's fun. They are very hungry for a bit of chalet, I think. They want to go to that third map, and they want to make it work. And, well, fair play to them. That was a really good attack. They didn't lose players until the very end of that round. They knew what they all knew their role, and they all coordinated it well. Flores and Buck forced the players out. Blackbeard applied the pressure in these positions when these players were being forced out, and the timing was done very nicely. There was clear communication and clear coordination in that. As well as that, the other players just kind of all worked around each other. The breach was open. It applied that little bit of uncertainty to the side of the defense, which meant that they couldn't focus on offense. They knew the breach was open, and they knew it was an opportunity for the attackers that they might take up. As a result, that left the defense having to find out what worked. They had to cover way too many angles for the amount of players they had. And when it did come to that final gunfight, it just wasn't going to happen. They didn't have the players for the refrag game.
One thing that we need to start looking at and maybe talking about is the performance that Gold has been having so far this map. He was an impact player on Labs. There were several times where he was the one who was finding picks, opening things up. I think of that round, the last round on their attacking half, where on Twitch he was able to just walk into site and collect all the kills that he needed to get it over the line for his team. This game, 0-5, not finding something in the first round either is... Actually, I'm not 100% sure about that first round. He might have found something there. But it's not a great look, and Sfam are absolutely capitalizing on the fact that he just really isn't finding that impact. Need to see him start waking up if No Offense are going to take some rounds off of Sfam and bring back their map pick.
Exactly. Now, one round away from match point, and on the attack, based on what we've just seen, I reckon they could do it. No offense, I feel like that last round was so dominantly in the favor of Sfam. I don't really expect to see them want to go there again. I would want to see them go down to the basement. I mean, yeah, if they win this round, they can still go to the basement. But if they lose this round, it's match point. They'll head down below, and if there are any issues on that bottom floor, then they don't really know how to rectify them. They will just go in and have to play for all the marbles on that bottom floor to stop us from going to Chalet. Sfam, in the meantime, they just need to make that magic happen again. They played it very, very well on attack. Let's just see if they can recreate it. A lot more vert for the side of no offense being made.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I understand Renui did have some impact. He was the one who managed to find that eventual kill onto Kodaft, who was playing over towards that R6 room hallway. But vertical play, I mean, you can also deny it by rotating players down below. No offense, opt to just keep everyone upstairs. They figure, you know what, our defensive setup is good. We just won't get cut out in the same positions we were last time. But
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think that's the best approach. It's a very reactive mentality, much less so than a proactive mentality. And as I say that, Alio is going to go down to the vertical, taken down, and eventually finished off by Granui, being excellent with that bottom-up destruction with the buck. But look at this, talking about proactivity. Kesko dropping down below, understanding that the buck is being brought, that they're going for those plays, going for that verticality, and he's in a position to be able to refrag his down teammate. Excellent work out of him. And this positions, no offense, to be much better going into this mid-round.
And that's the thing. Again, the verticality works in favor of the defense as well as the attacks. And now that they have these positions down below, they have the verticality they can use. They can start to apply the pressure when the attack does come through. Rusate and Gold, as well as Kesko, will be positioning themselves to deal with this attack once it finally does start to execute. This Sfam Esports still have that Blackbeard. They still have that frag grenade. They can go for the push. And it looks like if we take a look here, the round seems to have gone in favor of no offense, as I think we're just trying to get this fixed up. We are going to jump back to our cameras. I can't tell you what happened with that round, but I can tell you that no offense looked very well positioned. Having that vertical control, it was so important. There's no way that it wasn't the defining factor in how that round played out.
Yeah, excellent work by the bandit dropping down below, understanding that he needs to relieve some pressure for his teammates, that they're facing an onslaught as the floor is exploding all around them.
Yeah.
You made a reference earlier to a metaphor about sharks circling a position. That buck, I mean, he makes for some choppy waters, and
Yeah.
sending someone down below to be able to stabilize the position, to slow down the attack and make it a little bit more difficult for them to get what they want, to start forcing those players back, such that the attackers are forced to push into the shotgun, being brought along by Kodak, being brought along by Gold. It's really nicely played by no offense. They understand their win condition. They understand what went wrong last round. Signs of life for them. They're still trailing. There's still a deficit, but I'm starting to believe.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking a lot better. And with no offense, I feel like they do have that opportunity. They do have that potential. And on the defense, it's definitely something they can do. It is not outside of the realms of possibility for themselves. So going on to this bottom floor site, they're going to focus on that vertical. Let's hope in this case, the things that plague them are going to be things that they're going to learn from, they're going to utilize. They're going to utilize these late flanks. They're going to utilize these opportunities to catch these players in the back when they do start to put that pressure on top floor. And we'll see Saya very, very paranoid, I want to say, about any spawn peaks coming from inside the spawn. Which, you know, I can't fault that. You know, you want to be careful. You want to make sure you don't get shot. But Kyo's taking a very different approach. Start to put that pressure in on top floor, realizing it's a basement. We need to clear that top floor straight away. Get the info and get moving.
Yeah, interesting work. He's doing a little bit of pre-firing in spawn. Looks like he's testing out that trigger, making sure that he's able to shoot. I don't really see the need. He's been doing all right this game. 4-on-5 for himself is not a bad scoreline by any means, especially for your vertical player. That's not somebody you're expecting to be involved in all sorts of entry engagements. But speaking of the entry, going on upstairs, Sfam taking decisive quick space on that top floor, using the Jackal, using the Deimos to be able to get info on what his drone looks like. Kodaft will be droned out and decides to give up a little bit of space. Does manage to catch quite a few drones on his way out, really damaging that economy that Sfam has. They still got 7 remaining, but that's some early wasted drones by being destroyed by Kodaft that may come back to bite them in the butt later in this round.
Definitely. I feel like that's the big thing as well. It's not the impact it's having right now, it's the impact it has later. Kesko spots the blitz. I just said, yeah, no, we're getting away from that. We're going to run away. We need to back away from that and just not take that gunfight. He identifies that as well, realizing they don't need to take that gunfight. They have the footprints. They can just go for the scan. They don't need to give anything away. Jackal Scan will come out onto Gold. They know that Warden's backed away and is playing a lot more safer. And now the attackers can start with a bit more verticality in sight. Gold will start to feel the pressure, though. Where's the blitz? Starts pressure in them. The Warden glasses don't go on. They will get taken down. as Keo is going to find that opening pick in this round and opens up the staircases. There's another player, and that is going to be Kodak, ready to deal with it alongside that bandit as well. Running away through the rotate, Keo will find a kill. Zai gets another one of their own in a 2 versus 5. Sfam looking good to put us onto that match point, but they have the player pushing on yellow. But Zai has another one. The Deimos gets taken down as Granuli, and now it's all down to Kodak. They have the Solace. They can deny that plan, but they need to be in the right moment at the right time, Hyper.
Yeah, and with the tracks coming out, with the Jackal on that on the position of that Solus, Kodaf is going to have to go in, have to drop down the hatch, but Ramza's just holding it. He's the one with the pings, not afraid at all to engage with that player, able to pick him off out of the air. Clay Pigeon, take a skeet shooting. Oh my, McCready, another round for Sfam.
Yeah, it was just so strong. It was so confident. The Warden not using their glasses. When they hear the blitz, you should pop those glasses. You know what's coming. You know the first button that blitz is going to press. And as a result, it wasn't done. They were fully flashed, and you saw gold taken off the board, unable to add to that kill count of theirs. And the blitz just walks in. The blitz walks in like a freight truck, and that's exactly what we saw. That and Yesaya with the R4C. You talked about the kills that Yesaya was doing. The warm-up paid off, definitely. Because when it came to that round, they were not missing.
I'm still not over. Midway through that round, I think it was Kesko trying to escape the road clear and running into blitz.
Yeah.
Just saying nope, taking off, vaulting over the staircase, keeping himself alive into that late round, but it didn't matter. Mental errors out of gold. You're playing Warden, dude. You gotta activate those goggles. I'm not understanding what's going on with Gold today. And it feels like he's really costing some rounds for his team. I hate to put it on one player, but I mean, that's really where I'm seeing the weak link inside of this roster. Some questionable fights out of him, and I'm hoping he can be better in these next couple of rounds, because they're going to need him if they want to bring this back.
I love to play devil's advocate, and they had a really good performance on Nighthaven Lab, so it is a shame to see them not having that same kind of performance on a map like Blair. But I think it can't be put down to one player one specific player, but there needs to be a change. The rest of the players, Alio, I also want to see an improvement from, as well as Kodaf. They're the only player that really seems to be performing and is actually going positive on no offense is Russen. And because of that, you can see in the scoreline why they're struggling. I mean, they're 3-6 at the moment. A lot of these gunfights are not winning out, and it does come down to simple things. I mean, that round maybe is down to gold. They let the bullets just walk through and push through because they didn't use their glasses, and they had a shotgun, which was a very winnable gunfight. Let's see if they improve that. Let's see if they identify what happens, and hopefully that goes a little bit better this time. Spotting the blitz is going to be Kodaft, hopefully calling that out with the shotgun. Doesn't have the opportunity to see those, see through the flashbangs. We'll try and get this kill first and foremost. Jack will get in the scan and will try and get that information, and Kodaft will have to fall back.
I'm worried about Kodaft. This player could be cut off. The player above him is a Deimos, but look at this. Zarindo is not going to be the one. It's going to be the one that finds him instead, lurking seemingly up from warehouse. I'm not sure how that gap was missed, by no offense, but the Twitch is able to find their way into the defensive setup and pick off Kodaft for the opener, despite the fact that this is the Solus. This is the player who is one of the best roamers in the game, able to use their gadget to figure out what info there is on them, whether their movements are known. But Alio bringing things back, more than equalizing, giving his team the advantage with a double C4 off the back of seemingly no info. Just a bandit, tossing it at the ceiling and picking up 2. Looking a bit better.
Beautiful C4 there, but Romza's going to have an answer onto gold. Kesko will go up the blue stairs, finding Romza as well, putting this in a 3 versus 2 in favor of the defense. Time with 1 minute left, really going to back things up in favor of the defense, and now Grenouille and Zerino really need to work for this round. But if they want to go to Chalet, they have to earn it, and they have to earn it in this round. If we lose this round, that means no offense will go down here again. If they lose this round, sorry, they'll go to that tertiary site, and then it's the top floor. Realistically, this is the most important for them. Starting to go down, Grenouille will run into that cube mine, will have to pull it out, and now Kesko is aware of that player's position. But the attackers know about this rotate. They are going to be holding it, they are going to be aware, and now Zerino and Grenouille will start pushing into the same time, ticking down. 20 seconds left. The goo mines doing their passive damage as Kesko keeps applying that pressure. Zerino's going to run in to try and close things out, but Alio finds a third in the round. The first one with the gun. Not going to happen as Grenouille finds Kesko, but doesn't find the shots. It's going to be Kesko to close things down, and no offense, will keep in it for one more round. They have to go to that tertiary site, but Armory or shoot security. Both sides are actually very feasible on the defense.
It's definitely not over yet. No offense, have a chance, but I'm still a little bit concerned. Gold engaging with a fight that he really didn't need to engage with, losing his life in the mid round after his team had established the advantage. Actually, not even peaking, just losing the fight because of poor positioning. And then elsewhere, Kesko just repeatedly challenging Granui at the bottom of the staircase in a position where he cannot be traded. It feels like No Offense are just making some mental errors. And while they did win that round, they were able to get it over the line. There were still some serious, egregious mistakes throughout that leaves me a bit worried for these next 2 rounds.
Yeah, no offense. Going to that top floor. For Sfam, that was the must win. That was that bottom floor. They had to take control of that. They had to stop them from going up to this top floor. Because no offense, they won it out last. They won it out last time, and they answered very quickly. They realized what worked for Sfam when the Sfam won it out, and they adapted. I'm expecting to see Kesko drop down below, apply that pressure from the vert, and the big thing we talked about was Alio, Kesko, and Kodaf and Gold not really performing frag-wise. Look at that scoreline. That has changed. They have performed, and I'm hoping to see this continue out into this round.
Yeah, we will see as they start to approach the building here. Sfam looking to bring along almost, again, an identical lineup to what they've been employing on this site before. It's worked. They don't want to change it. And you know what? Honestly, credit to them. They know why they lost last round. The last time they came to the site, Granui was taken out down below. If he keeps his life, if he's able to stay alive, if he's aware of the fact that he is going to be pushed, then they stand a very good chance of getting this one over the line. And here's a fight, a little bit of a challenge going on through the vert. The Frost of Roost looking to engage with the Buck down below. Both players just barely missing each other, like ships in the night sliding by on that vert. But so far, no engagement. And we just breathe and wait for this engagement to go through. Elsewhere, a little bit of drone work being done by Ronza, looking to try and get some info for his teammates as the Blackbeard gets ready to approach that sky bridge entry potentially, but really things are just moving slow for Sfam, not wanting to make any mistakes as they approach the site.
Yeah, a little bit of damage will go on to Ron, but it's nothing too big as they try and get that breach open. They're not going to be able to do it just yet, and that breach will stay in position by no offense. Now, Grenouille, like you say, down below is their main job is applying pressure to the defenders. That's exactly what's happening now. They're not finding kills, but the pressure is being applied, and they are aware of that hatch dropping. They have learned from their mistakes. The Buck Skeleton Key will get used a bit more. Keeping an eye on that hatch, they will be looking to apply even more pressure. Starts to rotate around, just trying to find these players, just to put a few shots, just to make them uncomfortable. And now as Sfam have rotated towards that backside on the north side of balcony, they are going to try and go for that backside push. They have the pressure towards towards top. That is Grenouille who can do that, but now our 6 room is going to be the main point of contention. Starting to move forward. It will be looking to clear out that player in the side closet. Doesn't find the kill, but does do damage. Savino has an answer of their own, and will find Kodaf as well. Smoke of Alio will take so much damage. Yuri Pressa, they're still alive, but with the ADS there as well. Kesko's able to find Desire. Grenouille gets the kill from down below. The ping is given out, and a 3 versus 4 with 45 seconds left. Blackbeard still having to apply this pressure. They know that a player's there. Grenouille gets the info, but isn't quick enough to stop Kesko. The Floristro will force them back with 30 seconds left on the clock. There's only 2 attackers, 3 defenders, and 30 seconds.
Bruce managing to pick up that Buck down below as well through the vertical play that we saw him challenging earlier in the round, and things have fallen apart for Sfam. Off some excellent play by them to be able to force players back from this storage position, but things are just looking so difficult. They're forced to engage with shields, a warden, and they have no flashbangs, no utility with which to break up these crossfires. And with just 10 seconds remaining on the board, you've got to imagine all No Offense need to do is hold their crosses, and they will. Roos to pick up the last 2, using that Frost, 35 bullets in the mag to great effect, just letting it sing and taking down those 2 remaining players.
Yeah, very, very well played there. It's just that end gunfight. This is where we see No Offense start to wake up a bit, because that's when those kills came through. That's when they stunted that attack. And by getting Grenouille, they stopped that extra level of pressure. They could all focus on that doorway towards that closet, over towards storage. And in doing so, that was where, like you say, you saw 2 attackers with no flashbangs, no utility, going up against 3 players in different situations with a warden and a shield. There was no conceivable way they won that as soon as Grenouille died. If Grenouille was alive, they could have started using the vert. They could have got behind that shield. They could have gotten towards that connector side. It just wasn't going to happen. Finding that kill onto the Buck was the round winner, and you could just see how easy it was to clean it up there. Very well played from No Offense. They do hang in it, but now this is the big ask. This is the big crucial round to win, because They're not on top, they're not on bottom, they're on a site they haven't played just yet. And to win this one, to keep us in overtime. That's what they need to do. If they lose it, we're on Chalet.
A little bit of a double-edged sword here for No Offense. They do have to go to their tertiary site. This is typically the weakest in the rotation. But on the other side of things, Sfam haven't seen this site yet. They don't know what the defensive setup out of No Offense will be. They don't have a good idea of how to approach. They don't have a read on what the strategy is. So if they guess wrong, if they aren't able to effectively drone at the position and come up with an answer to the problems presented to them, No Offense could very well be the ones who force this to go to overtime. We'll see. They start their approach over towards that north side, and let's find out how it goes.
Exactly. Now, I feel like it's all about this top floor again and the verticality. I don't expect to see Grenemy going downstairs on the bug because they're on the Blackbeard, but I didn't expect to see it on this side because this one is a lot more top-down verticality instead of bottom-up like we saw before. That's where ESA is going to come into effect. Now, the side of Sfam Esports have done very, very well on the attack, winning out these gunfights, getting this vertical control started, whether it be above or below. It's just what they do with it. That's the big thing. That's the make or break in the round, is how well they use it, how well they can make it work. For the rest of No Offense, they seem to have gone for a very similar setup towards storage. They have that player hold in there to keep that pressure on there, and they just have somebody down below just in case. Realistically, they're focusing on the top floor, and they're just going to start looking down below as and when they need to. Is that if Sfam can read into that, they could rush this site, they could get a fast plant, who knows?
Blitz making their way in towards command, looking to apply pressure directly into the middle of this R6 room setup. Nobody directly holding the door, but they are ready for the backstab. Grenouille over here with the Blackbeard shield, ready to burst in through the bathroom windows and hit the back when the defense is least expecting it. But Kodaf is completely aware of the play. He's holding in that position, ready to engage with that player as the push comes through. The rest of the rest of Sfam have managed to enter the building over towards mezzanine, and Isaiah will be the first one to open it up, using that ram, using that R4C to find the first kill. Grenouille bursting in, getting himself the second, and the blitz flash to confirm the third. My goodness, No Offense. Things are falling apart for them at every step along the way. Alio last alive. He went huge in the last couple of rounds. He was able to find a lot of impact, but something tells me the 1v5 is going to be just a little too much. Players spotted, engaging with the Blackbeard. A little bit of damage onto Grenouille, but not nearly enough. And as he's forced to retreat, as the Blackbeard pushes forward, you've got to imagine that Case will simply go down onto site. But Alio somehow manages to take out the blitz through the flash with the SMG-11, just spraying. Grenouille through the floor is holding the angle, the return to that vertical, and the smoke is the last one to go down, sending us to a third map on Chalet.
Yeah, the Blitz trying to close out that round, but unable to do so. It is going to be Grenouille down below who's going to push us to Chalet on third map. And No Offense, it looked doable. It looked like they could do it. But Sfam just feeling confident on the attack when they went onto that side. They knew what they were doing. They knew what they needed to take control of. They got the opening picks. They took control of the verticality. And at that point, it was over. It was down to Casco and Alio, as you can see on the site. They just screwed them over with the vert. Like I said, once they got the vert, it's what they do with it. That was the make or break of the round. And that's what we see Sfam taking a very, very close win. Again, a very close scoreline, which feels like maybe if I feel like we would have been cheated if it was a 2-0 in all honesty. Hi, Bear. We are going to be heading to Chalet. We are going to see at least one map for each team.
And this has been just such a close series so far. 7-5 on both maps, if I'm not mistaken. So, going all the way in regulation on both teams' map picks, but both teams winning their opponents' map picks. Interestingly, I was convinced going into layer that the team who was going to be the most ready on it would have been No Offense, especially coming out of what was a pretty dominant last couple of rounds on labs, but seemingly not enough. Sfam, credit to them managing to get it over the line, and yeah, really interested to see what they bring for us on Chalet.
Yeah, definitely. We are going to be heading there after a very short break again, and we will be jumping straight into the action. So have a drink, use the toilet if you need to, but make sure you're back very, very soon because we will be back.
Two maps behind us, one more to go. We head to Chalet to be able to close this one out. No Offense versus Sfam. It will all be decided here. I'm here with McCready, and I am so ready to get into this last map.
Me too. I mean, both teams have gone 5-7 on the map they won, and they were not their map picks. So before we get into the upbands, I'm just going to explain how this worked. Normally, in a 1-1 scenario, the team with the best round differential will get the pick of whether they start an attack or defense. In this case, they both were 5-7 scores. As a result, that means that we have seen Sfam Esports were able to start the starting side. As a result, they've now picked the defense, and that means that they are going to start things out on that favored side. Whereas, no offense, have been able to choose what side they want on the OT, which makes sense. They've gone for the OT defense as well. But the thing is, do we find ourselves going there? Estram on the defense have started out the bands with a Monty.
Yeah, the Monty ban taken off again. We didn't see that Monty played last map. Same deal. It was banned by Sfam, but this time, no offense, opting for a bit of a different ban. Last time they got rid of the Intel Gatherer, the Dokkaebi. This time they will move on and get rid of the Blackbeard, an operator that was employed several times by Sfam throughout that last game on layer to great effect. It was honestly a large contributing factor in them managing to get that game over the line. So no offense, are like, you know what? No offense. We don't want to deal with it. We're taking it off the board. You see what I did there?
That makes so much sense to myself, because when you take a look at it, when the way that it works is the Blackbeard's going to work the same way as a Monty would on this site. Piano hallway, blue hallway, realistically that trench side. These are like these choke points that we talked about on Lair. Those are the other sites and the areas that shield is going to have a lot of potential on. And when you run a field as well as we saw Sfam running that Blitz Blackbeard combination, understandably you want to take one of those off the board. The one that you take off the board is the one that also has access to a gun and still has shield cover for most of their body anyway. So that's why we've seen Blackbeard taken off the board, as well as the frag grenades. Blitz will stay on the board, but the shield meta has definitely been neutered on this map. We're going to start things out on kitchen dining, and this one is a site that I actually have a lot of love for, because I really do appreciate the thought behind it. The top floor room, the top floor holder is going to be the key part of this. The utility, that's where you're going to expect to see a lot of your file cameras, your zone barricades, and your castle barricades. It slows that down the attack. It stops them from getting that vertical control. We know that both teams can really utilize the verticality. If they let No Offense take control of that, and they have the right operators to deal with that verticality, that can really cause big problems for Sfam. So that's what they need to prevent before they worry about that site.
Kitchen and dining, one of my favorite sites from back in my comp days, often sees a lot of play focused around this top floor extension, as you were saying. But one thing I do want to note is this Twitch being bought along, finding immediate value, not only managing to get rid of Goyo canisters, but also popping a castle barricade. How often do you see that one? My God.
Fair enough. If it works, it works. And that has just opened an entry onto site, which is something the attackers are going to be very grateful for, because an attacker cleared it out, that means the defense don't get access to that barricade anymore, which means that is a castle barricade off the board straight away. No trade-off for the defense, meaning No Offense get that utility off the board for free, so to speak. Now they're doing this vertical, they're doing the droning, they're realizing, yes, there's going to be some roam element we need to be aware of. Sfam, they do utilize that roam very, very well, especially on Nighthaven. So they're going to make sure that is something that's going to catch them out here. Very confident starts. They start taking control of the piano side. The C4 will fly in it, will catch Casco, as Keo is going to find that first kill in the round. And with a minute 40 left on the clock, the Flores Jones will try and get some utility back to make it a trade. It's not really going to have the impact. Rusev, not the Twitch drone you were hoping for. Now they're just going to go for the face peek. Takes a bit of damage, but doesn't die just yet.
A little bit more intel being gathered here by No Offense. Their initial setup in this round hasn't quite gone according to plan. They've dropped a body, but they have managed to do a lot of work in starting to approach this top floor extension. And look at this position being played by Koda, potentially unaware on these solar windows. If Sfam decide to try and fall back via the solar stairs, they will be cut off by that player. But oh my goodness, pushing into sight and elsewhere. A player being down by the Twitch drone. That was ESA. And suddenly it seems to be falling apart for Sfam. They've lost control of sight. While they do maintain presence on the vert, Kodak is able to pick up yet another kill, and things just go from bad to worse for this defensive side.
Yeah, like you say, Alio is there to kind of keep an eye on that flank and make sure that Valkyrie doesn't have the impact that it needs to. The flank cameras do a really good job for No Offense making them aware of the Valkyrie. That means that at least they're ready to contest it. Xavier will try and swing out and get a bit of damage, but will not find a kill. Will be taken out by Alio, and now it's down to Keo. All on their lone swim in a 1 versus 3. They have the dining control. They can contest the plank going down, but with the amount of players on the attacking side, it's just not going to happen. The Bravo with the shotgun, the player that opened up the entirety of this site in favor of the attack, will shut things down. Realistically, just such a strong push onto site that Sfam weren't ready for. They had rumors to try and deal with it, but as soon as that first player went down, Gold decided, okay, hi Bet, I heard the criticism. I heard you said you called me out. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna get some kills now. That's exactly what they've done. Such a good round from the attack.
And credit to Gold. I mean, I think he's tripled his kills as compared to last map. Let's see. No, just doubled them so far. But still, doubling them in the first round of a game, you gotta say, that's a much better look for him. Getting into this chalet map, maybe just some more comfortable territory for him. Maybe layer's not his favorite thing in the world. Either way,
Yeah.
really happy to see it, and a massive gap exploited by Gold. Just waltzing into sight, managing to catch the Goyo, putting Util down in the late round, picking up a second for his troubles, picking up that last player. No offense, went from pretty bad to suddenly winning the round, and credit to Gold. He's the one who made that happen.
Pretty bad to pretty good. So they are going to be able to win out that attack on the kitchen dining site. And Sfam, they are going to go head down there. Again, I mean, realistically, I feel their setup wasn't really tested that much. So I can understand the decision they take in going to that position and saying, let's try that again. Because it came down to, no offense, reading into the gaps in the setup really easily, taking control of that site. And while they took control of Piano, in favor of the attack, the defense, sorry, the attackers were just able to pull through. So no offense, they realized what the SFAM have realized what the issues are, and they're looking to rectify it now. Going to be very aware of these Brava and Twitch drones, I reckon. But first of all, that's going to be Roos able to take out that Goyo canister. Again, 2 canisters taken off so quickly.
Notably, some different placement of the Goyo canister there that time, recognizing that because it was placed on the barrier last round, it was popped at the same time. Sorry, the castle was popped at the same time as the Goyo canister was, leading to a really unique interaction that we don't see super often, but not to be inside of this round, as no offense, continue their setup towards the site. They will need to use these Flores drones to get rid of these castles, as opposed to last round.
That does
I
make a lot
thought
of
Kodaf was
sense.
going to blow himself up for a second.
Yeah, that does make a lot of sense. I mean, they're going to use the Flores drones. They're not going to stress too much about it. They have the Twitch, they have the Bravo. There's a lot of utility denial operators here that can be brought out. And now they're going to contest that breach. Make sure that they can take control of it if they so want. They can get that breach open. Now, though, they realize they're not going to be able to just rush onto site. The defenders are going to be ready for that. And as a result, they go up above. Desire will just get away. I don't think they realize how lucky they are, because the nade was in the attacker's hand. They could just escape. Keo will find a kill onto Kesko. Now that late flank over towards Library side actually paying off a little bit, as opposed to that first round where it didn't do anything at all. And now the defenders 1 round in 1 player in their pocket. Kodaft is going to be able to find Keo to even things out, but Kodaft is on 1 HP as well. Meaning that with 1 minute left on the clock, no offense, they can start putting pressure on this top floor, but they're going to need to start making something happen. Kodaft getting taken down as well as I think they dropped a good bit of damage. That's going to waste even more time here, Hybet. They don't have that to spare.
That is a little bit interesting. I'm wondering if that was an intentional reset by Kodaf, understanding that he was such low HP. It's very difficult to have fallen off the roof from their belt like that, but potentially some small mental errors here on the side of no offense. If not, just looking to try and maximize their chances of surviving bullet later on in this round. And ESA staying alive despite the engagements earlier on, despite just barely getting away as the breach opens. But this time, no. Alio will be ready for him, holding that position, ready to engage with the player. While elsewhere, Gold is taking down Bozarino. Tapping away is Granui, looking to try and find a fight on the long angle towards Alio over and Nez. And the 2 remaining attackers opt to not engage with the upstairs extension, recognizing that with such low time, they need to hit sight. And so Kodak will attempt to throw in through these holes, hold the angle, but in fact he's going to blind himself as Alio is stuck pushing through fire, just looking for any chance in this round. But without forcing these players off the vert, you can't push through. With the fire, with the vertical, and with the long angles, they're able to hold on and get that defensive round.
And that's why I'm really happy to see that Sfam there decided they were going to contest that attack a little bit more. They won out that first gunfight, and yes, they did lose a player to Godaf. They were able to keep that top floor control. They weren't pushed out of the verticality, and as a result, when it came to that execute, no offense, we're in a really awkward spot. They had to push onto side. They had to just ignore the top floor, and that's when Grenouille, using the long angle to K9, was able to just start walking forward, look towards that site. Look down, get a kill, not a problem. Go canisters popped. Realistically, it was a textbook way to defend that from Sfam. That was very well played from them. Now they're going to head to top floor. They need to do the same again, with maybe a little bit less focus over towards that verticality, because they don't have to worry about that bottom floor, which means there's a lot more pressure on holding that breach, holding that piano side. And that piano area, where you can see that Zarino is going to have head holes so that they can peek that if they want to, is going to be the all crucial moment. There's not going to be any head holes put there. Probably just get the mutant bandit charges down. But that piano area is going to be so important. If the attackers get control of that, they can swing to piano and go for the execute. If not, they get stunted out so much. They can get the breach open, but they'll know that the swing is always going to be there. Kesko able to find Isaiah trying to get a kill with that Frost SMG. Not going to happen. Will be taken off the board.
Good that Kesko survives there. Being the hard breach, he's incredibly important inside of this round. But one thing I want to highlight, in terms of this defensive setup out of Sfam, they really made seemingly a mistake to me as they reinforce all 4 of those box walls. The reason you leave those head holes open is so that the piano player can contest into box when that plant attempt goes down inside of the office half wall. With those being closed, the piano player can't help. They're going to be fighting for piano. They've got the shield. They've got the util set up to contest the space. But no offense, don't need to engage with it. And if they recognize that, they can simply ignore that player, work into the office, and go for the plant behind half wall completely safe.
Exactly. Now, a very quick entry over towards that library side. The Blitz and Ash starting to push them together. And now the piano will try and get a kill, but a fire grenade comes through. It just doesn't find the mark. But that's what this is about, is distracting that piano player. They can take that piano hallway. They don't get stalled out. They need to have flank cams just in case, because there is still that player that might look to try and get right down below and try and apply the pressure. But now it is going to be down to the attackers in piano. C4 goes out, doesn't find its mark. The player in piano, the Azami, has to be aware of the window and the swing from Blitz. If they don't time this right, it'll go horribly. But nobody will fall just. Swing does come through. Black Blitz is going to try that again. The util will start to go back onto the site, and his army will be able to just escape with their life. The castle rotates around to help, as they know that breach is getting open. They have to play behind Harmful, and then they have to be even more concerned about how they play. Utility dump on a castle means that his army can just fall out if the attackers decide to go all in.
Notably, the only thing standing between No Offense and a plant here is the bandit inside of office. If they can remove that player, suddenly things are going to open right up for No Offense. They do find bandit taken down by Kesko through that breach, forced to peek, and now all No Offense needs to do is recognize that they no longer need to fight. They can simply plant, and they do. Kesko in position, getting that case down. Gold holding the retake through piano, now holding the rotate in between piano and Master. Gonna try and pick up that dog, loses the fight, but Kesko getting off plant is able to clean up Gernui. And an excellent round off of a questionable setup out of Sfam.
Yeah, I mean, it worked in the end. They realized a lot of the areas they needed, a lot of the key areas they needed to take control of. They had piano hallway. They got a first kill on the spawn peak. Love to see it. Isaiah's taken off the board. That's an operator that really can frag, especially on that Naive and layer that we saw. They've taken their player off the board. It was the piano window for me. What we saw was the Azami was the only player in piano at that point. They had to deal with the Blitz, the line overweight, all the way over towards piano hallway. And when they realized that, the attackers just put somebody on piano window. No Offense were able to just distract that defender, and as a result, the breach got utility dumped, the breach got opened up, and then they started to really pick apart the attacking lineup or the defending lineup. Took control of piano, and like I said before, they could just explode onto site through the doorways. Sfam had to scramble to get into positions to win it out. They weren't able to make it happen. The kills do come through, and No Offense will pick up a second attacking round. This map is one of the kind of more favored attacking maps. But even in Season 10 of ESA so far, it is still very defender-sided. So No Offense really going against the curve here. Going to that top floor site will be Sfam, looking to defend it again.
So far, so good for No Offense. They're looking practiced on this map, and Alyo bringing along the shield, consistently finding impact and keeping himself alive. Not over-engaging, not getting separated from his teammates, really finding value in that operator. The only real shield who is left on the board after the Monty and Blackbeard bans.
Exactly. Got to get to library. They need to get the information. They need to know that somebody's not waiting in there. No Uzziah wasn't spawn peeking this time, but they might just be playing a little bit more safely over towards Mini, which they are. So the drones will go through, get that information, and ideally Uzziah will be able to find at least a kill for their troubles, because in a situation like that, they need to be aware that they might not be able to escape. That's going to be Rusa able to make sure that does not happen. Finding that kill will be refranked and dining by Granui, but that is still the frost taken down, and that opens up library. Look at that now. Alio will be able to push over towards Mez, takes control. Severino has an answer, and now we're in the 3 versus 3.
Things going all right so far for No Offense. Notably, they do not. Apologies, no, sorry, I'm completely wrong. I was gonna say they don't have a hard breacher. They do have a hard breacher, in fact. I am just lost. Alio managing to push in towards library, picking up that Azami. That Mez extension completely cleared out. The remainder of the defense are over deep inside of Master in office, and then finally the one player down below, who is now rotated back up Sword, playing on that second floor. So things are going to come down to whether they can get the wall open, and then whether they're able to hold the retake when they go to attempt that plant. But remember, the piano walls are reinforced. You cannot, as a defender, play inside of piano and deny the plant. What that means is the player playing inside of office, Ramza, is very isolated. And if they can pick up that player, if they manage to find that kill, the retake is simple to hold. Zorino and Granui do not have C4 to be able to toss forward and deny the plant. Things are looking much better for No Offense than I think it may appear on the surface.
Exactly. They're starting to use that DMR to open up that verticality. It forces up that move out of that position. And as a result, Ramza doesn't want to take these gunfights. They're going to have to, though, and will be able to down out Kesko. But his Kodaf with the kill will find that player. And now, like you say, the attackers have to go for the refrag. Does not be in a walk-in rotate. Maybe going to deal with, of course, the life of Kesko there. But Alio will get taken down by the Mez retake. The retake for the defense going incredibly well. And as that Fenrir will drop down below, Kodaf has to find the kill onto Granui. Not going to happen. The swing from the head holes will come through and will find a round in favor of Sfam Esports, and one that was badly needed as well.
My apologies. I thought that those head holes had been reinforced again, but no, they were opened up. Granui able to find the last kill through those holes. Yeah, better defense here out of Sfam. I think that really is just you have a better setup, you can play around it more effectively. No offense, a little bit sloppy in that mid round. They did find themselves the opener, but they weren't able to capitalize on that kill. The Ash finding an excellent timing to lurk into bar, but then trying to sprint away and not checking the kitchen angles that have been opened up earlier on in the round, giving her life away, forfeiting that space. No Offense, seemingly with a good idea for how to start, but then not really able to convert into that mid round, able to keep the bodies that they found themselves initially.
Yeah, now, No Offense, they're going to have to recreate some of the magic. They won this site first time of attacking, but that was down to a very good aggressive input push from the Gold, who hasn't really seemed to be able to capture that magic in the round since. Now, Sfam, they just need to defend it the same way as before. They keep control of that vertical, they keep control of the top floor, and they can keep another round on the board for them, get that third defensive round, and at least guaranteeing them 3-3 split. Now, for those who may not remember, this is something happening on the 13th of March. I think it has something to do with the letter Y, but, you know, don't hold me to
that. What? I'm so confused what you're talking about right now.
The big X on the screen.
Oh, man. Pranking me right now. As we get into this next round, we will see a mostly library-sided take being employed by No Offense. Starting off towards this mezzanine side, looking to be very methodical with their cross take, be able to clear out Bert before converting into a kitchen plant late round. Last time they went on this site, they had brought along the Twitch to be able to clear up these Goyo canisters. Notably, this time, there is no Twitch on site.
Yeah,
I'm a little bit unsure whether or not that was intended to be kept and they just switched off it at the last minute or not, but not having that Twitch while the Goyo is still being employed could prove to be extremely problematic for No Offense, because we saw they took a long time to be able to clear out this extension, and as they got down into the late round, they were forced to face Goyo fires even when they brought along the Twitch. This round, they have no ability to remove them early on, and that could really prove to be problematic for them as they approach the late round.
Yeah, it's a lot more difficult to do it with a Flores and a Twitch string. Now, the reason I can see the Kesko's gone into that gridlock, and I think there's a very good reason for why. All the gadgets go down, so the point still stands as Granui gets a beautiful shot into the head of Kesko. But that last round, the Fenrir is able to walk up main lobby, able to find a kill, and it shut down the attack from No Offense. This might just be an adaptation to try and stop that and just give themselves a little bit more awareness if there was a flank where the track sting was being shot. Now, though, like you say, that player's been taken down. That's the LMG and the secondary shotgun taken away. So very much hurt in the verticality department as well, because they weren't really packing there before anyway. They will start to get the breach off with 1 minute left on the clock, and Keo will get that one-player lead into a 2-player lead. This means that Alio will rotate up to that top floor to try and get something back. That top floor's not been dealt with again. And as Gold takes some damage, his eye does get taken down, but 50 seconds ticking down. We need to see a little bit more focus towards his site, a little bit more coordination, because something has to happen. 1-player deficit, time not in their favor. And while they know there's a player on the side of kitchen, it's going to be Grenouille who's able to find Alio.
At a certain point, you gotta wonder if there's a player on No Offense who can step up to the task. Grenouille is the opposition right now. He's the one finding the fights, and he's the one hitting head. He's shutting down No Offense no matter where they try and push into the building. And as if to prove my point, he finds a 3rd and a 4th through the vertical. My goodness, Grenouille has been a hero in this round, but not only in this round. Throughout this entire... you need to see an answer on the side of No Offense. It cannot keep going in this direction if they want to keep this close.
Exactly. Now, with Sfam Esports, I think they took the right decision. They went back to kitchen dining. When there wasn't a rush, they knew how to deal with it. They dealt with it well, and they took that round win. So going into this, they secured at least that 3-3 split, like we said they needed to have. Going to Bar and Gaming, this is one where I feel like Sfam are going to really do quite well on. We've seen them do well when No Offense have had to deal with the utility, deal with the positions, when they've not just been able to rush it to site. That's when No Offense have struggled. Like we say, no Twitch being brought out before to deal with Goyos, to deal with the rest of the utility. This is one of those sites as well. There's going to be a player on those blue stairs that is without a doubt. They are going to be protected by Goyos, by Wamais, and by a Fenrir gadget, and maybe even a camera from Valkyrie to boot. That is going to be a key position to take control of, because if they do not deal with blue stairs, that allows that rotation up and down between the sites. It allows the retake of libraries. So if No Offense do rush onto site, Sfam could just get above, look through the hatch, shoot them down, deny the plan, win the round. They need to deal with Piano, and Piano is going to be the tough nut to crack. And my question is, they've just given Grenouille a gun that fires faster than about 8 rounds a minute, which is going to be the Vector. They're 9-2 already. What's going to happen with the Vector? With an Acorn.
Grenouille's been finding the impact over and over and over again. I am scared if I'm No Offense. And like, honestly, they look like it. Several of the players seem actually afraid to peek at these angles that Grenouille is consistently contesting. And for good reason. Every time No Offense chooses to peek, they're being shut down. I don't really know what the answer is here. I think that at a certain point, there just needs to be a player who steps up. And who's that going to be? Alio has gone big in a few rounds. We've seen Kesko step up a couple of times, but really, it's just been... There hasn't been a hero on the side of No Offense. They haven't found anyone who is able to find those kills. Bruce will be the one who answers that call, though, as he finds the opener onto Grenouille. Grenouille still feeling himself off the last round, decides to try and peek the player on Repel, and ends up losing his life because of it. Excellent start to the round for No Offense.
Yeah, Xavino will fall as well as Kodas able to find a kill as well. Now, you still have the defense that are able to deal with this. They do have blue control, but No Offense is starting out very strong in this round here. They're taking control of Piano. They're getting the information. They're aware that Valkyrie is being brought again, and they're going to clear it out. Roos is doing a really good job of getting that information on board. Now, Azaya on the Frost, do they have the same capabilities as Grenouille? If you look at the scoreboard today, probably not. But if you look at the scoreboard across the 3 games, I reckon they have a really good chance. They just need to hit big shots. Now, though, No Offense have a really good opportunity. They have Flores drones, they have frag grenades, they have so much utility to come at this Piano. While it was a really tough position for the attackers to crack at the start of the round, now when you take a look at the situation we're in, for Yesaya with 3 versus 5, it's going to be a really tough spot to hold. They're going to have to fall back. And you do see the rotate coming out from Ronzo, finds Gold, as Gold doesn't spot the player running back to site. But that doesn't help Yesaya on that top floor. They are still going to feel the pressure. The Flores will still push them back. And now they are going to get taken down by Kesko. A minute left on the clock, and No Offense have a really strong start to this as Keo tries to take blue stairs back.
Eeksa, forget clicking ahead. He can't even click a Goyo canister right now. 0-6 so far for him. Taken out again on this round. Kodaf will follow up, a second to his name, and it's leaving just Keo last alive inside of this round. Crouch walking inside the site, but he's just been droned. His position known. He's forced to run away, give up all of his space, stuck inside a backbar stop. We'll find the first onto Kesko. Takes down the gridlock. That's the pressure coming into the lobby, and he will pick up Kodaf on the drop. starting to look a little bit more possible for him as he gets the reload off. He's still stuck in a tiny little corner with not a lot of space to work with, but he is alive. And as he trains his gun on the doorway, that will be the next point of aggression for this no offense attack. You start to wonder if it just might be possible, but no! The grenade sails through, and Roos will be the one to take his head off, managing to find himself the headshot as the Valkyrie attempts to peek around that doorway.
Yeah, very well played from No Offense there. Confident attack. They dealt with the utility really well, and they realized that piano was going to be the big problem for them, and they dealt with it in a very strong fashion, a very convincing one. They were firing on all cylinders. They were coordinating. Very well played. Now, at the split, we are going to see a 3-3 split. You can't really tell which way it's going to go, which is pretty much just the story of this series so far. 5-7 Nighthaven, 5-7 Lair, and now 3-3 on Chalet. Now, Kitchen Dining, let's talk about the big things again. No offense, they need to replicate what they dealt with and what they really struggled to deal with on the attack. That is a strong top floor hold, really easy avenues to rotate back down to site if need be, and the verticality to match that as well. Sfam Esports, how are they going to deal with that? What are they going to bring? What tools do they want to use to deal with this nut they have to crack?
So far, tools being brought along, an IQ and a Brava. Both operators who are excellent at dealing with electronic gadgets. The thing is, though, no offense, haven't really brought along that many electronic gadgets, apart from the bulletproof cam and Mozzie pests. And I don't really see you bringing along a Brava for dealing with Mozzie pests. A little bit intrigued by this lineup, apologies, out of Sfam. It doesn't feel like it's particularly suited to deal with the operators being brought along by no offense.
Exactly. Now, for me, I want to see this run here start out really strong. I mean, no offense, they've done quite well on it, but Sfam, they have the drones, they have the information. I believe they're aware that gold is over towards that library site, so they can put pressure on it. It's just down to Grenouille to be patient. Not going to be able to find the kill. We'll just have to wait. They know that player's rotating to stop, and they know that someone's playing down below, so they can't just jump into library. But Kodaft is going to find Kyo. Start things off, takes away the IQ, stops them from going below and taking out the utility, and makes that wall just a little bit easier to keep open. Now they have to rotate Grenouille or Zerino to get that util over.
Gonna say, I love this help out of Kodaft, but he does actually go down. Zerino managing to find himself the trade onto the pick that Kodaft had found earlier on, and Gold looking to get aggressive, feeling confident. He's been doing much better inside of this map, and he creeps along, just tucking underneath the window. If he's drone here, he is surely dead, and he will be the Twitch drone. Spotting him, he tosses out a C4. Pablo actually manages to take out Grenouille. Grenouille somehow whipping the shots. Gold staying alive, proning in the corner, deciding rather than running away, he's just going to waste the time of the attack. We pause, we reset. Calm strikes as he tucks in the corner here, just waiting to be droned once again.
I was about to say, at the moment, Gold in a very comfortable situation. Azaya will be able to find that kill and take them down, but look at that time. Half the round is gone, and now the attackers can finally start paying attention to that top floor. No offense, have done a very good job with that site there, that room clear. They forced Sfam to waste a lot of time, and now that second Twitch drone taken off the board, and just the Bravo follow as well. That means that as Yesaya goes in the top floor on their own to try and take that piano control, the tub goes out, it slows things down, and it surely isn't going to happen. Rotate onto the window will come out for Zerino. They know that he's playing there, so the pressure goes on. That means you have to rotate around again. That's more time wasted here, I bet. And now, 45 seconds left on the clock. Yesaya still stuck in piano. Nobody has case at the moment. They need to start pushing in. They can't leave the verticality on the board. Zerino takes a little bit too much damage as he starts pushing in from down below. They will get taken down and finished off by Alio, and Roos gets that kill. No offense, will find that round and find that first point to put them in the lead.
Great play, notably by Gold down below, understanding the position that he has, knowing what angles the attack has access to, and playing around his space perfectly, keeping himself alive much longer than he had any right doing. And despite the fact that his support goes down, he finds ways to reposition, to reaggress, and to keep on contesting that space on his own, wasting like a minute and 40 seconds of that round. Plus, not to mention all the kills that he found, really slowing things down for the attacking side and ruining their chances of being able to convert that round.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm hopefully looking to see them recreate some of that magic now on the Bar Gaming site as well. Nobody go to the basement, which doesn't really surprise me. It's not a site teams realistically enjoy in a competitive setting because there's a lot of things that really can draw it down. So they're going to go to kitchen dining, recreate some of the magic. Now, this makes a lot of sense to me because no offense, if they win this round, they can go to that master bedroom side and they can win that one. If they win that one, then they go back down to kitchen dining on match point. On paper, things are looking good. Things are going exactly the way they want them to. The only thing that this really depends on, for no offense, is themselves, is this round. This is the must-win round. We know they can win kitchen dining. We can expect them, if they win kitchen dining, to win the top floor. Will they win bar that? Will they win bar gaming? There we go, bar gaming. That's the word. We got there in the end.
Bar gaming is traditionally a pretty difficult site to attack, though we did see, no offense, had very few problems in dealing with the defensive setup that Sfam had employed.
Yeah.
The question is, will Sfam be as decisive in their attack as no offense were on the opposite side? They have brought along the tools for the job. This Capitao plus the Grim are both excellent at being able to clear out this library position via a direct pick, using the Capitao bolts to be able to clear out the space inside of that library corner. And you know what? That's where they're lining up. They're stacking, ready to hop in through those library windows, all while Keo, lurks in down below, using that knock to maybe backstab, hit a few players in the back, and definitely cause some problems in the back ranks of this defensive season.
Yeah, exactly. Now, playing down below will be that player that's trying to clear things out. Just make sure that there isn't anybody waiting. We saw this from Sfam, and I'm not surprised to see it. We saw it from No Offense. I'm not surprised to see it from Sfam as well, because it means they can walk up blue if they time this well. If they time that well, that means that that blue player won't be able to contest piano, and that just nullifies the entire problem that they've had. Ships in the wind, ships in the night again, though, as we see, just almost lining up over towards that piano side, but just not meant to happen. And now with half the round left on the board, the Vigil being spotted on the front, they're aware that that player's there, and you can see that Keo is probably going to head over to try and do that. But no offense, they've held this down very well. Sfam haven't put much pressure on that library side. They need to start making this happen soon. They need to do something to get in the building, realistically.
I was expecting the push to come through on the back of those Grimbies, but really thinking better of it, no, Sfam decide to give up the space. And that being said, it seems to be working. Granui finding the opener, jumping in through that library window, resetting and engaging when the fights are more favorable unto him. And Keo looking for the creep up of these blue stairs. Will they be ready for him? No! Kaio managing to find the pick onto the Mazia. Bruce and second on the Kodaf. Absolutely immaculate play out of the player, sneaking around, timing it perfectly with the rest of his team, leaving just gold left alive. Will clip a headshot on ESA, looking for a fight with a second, but the walls are exploding next to him. He will find two, but slowly he's forced to approach the site. I don't think he has the bullets to do it. No, Granui shutting him down, finding the last kill onto gold, and an explosive round off the back of a sneaky play by Kaio up blue.
Yeah, very well played. I mean, I saw the knockdown below, and the writing was on the wall. If no offense weren't ready for it, it ended the round, and that's exactly what you saw. They pushed up, found the first kill on that blue. That stops that rotate between sites that we talked about. That stops the ability to go up those blue stairs. They then picked the player on the blue stairs and got the kill. That means the library player doesn't have to be there anymore. They can still play that bit if they want, and they probably should if it was a much closer round. Realistically, at that point, they just had the cutoffs. They were able to watch that flanks, and yes, while they lost Uzziah, they were able to refrag him very quickly. A huge round from Keo and Granui together. They've really opened things up, and I was worrying a little bit about how that round was going to go. They've put my worries to rest. Main master bedroom and CEO. That's where we're going to be heading tonight, and that's where we're going to see No Offense looking to get onto that 5-4 scoreline. If they lose this and they put the ball back in Sfam's court, they'll feel a lot more confident on that bottom, attacking that kitchen dining side, won't they?
10 seconds to go.
Surely. And yeah, this top floor is not my favorite site on Chalet. Actually, it's my least favorite. I'm a little confused as to why the teams haven't opted to go for that basement bomb site. I truly am a believer in playing roam games on that basement and racking up rounds that way. I know at SI it was actually the most favorable site on Chalet, so seeing it left out inside of the ESA Cup is a little bit questionable to me. But we'll see. Maybe no offense, they've got some wisdom that I don't have here. We'll see if they're able to get this one.
Yeah, now Granui will find out opening pick onto Kodaf, dealing with this room clear and really realizing the gravity of the situation as they realized they needed to step things up on the attacking side and keep that momentum from that last round. Finding that opening kill means that you will see Kodaf taking away, the Legion Mines not being able to be used in that late round as well, and now Granui will be hunting around, aware that gold is probably on that room as well. If there's a Vigil, you can expect to have to deal with that bottom floor. While this is going to waste time, I feel like if Granui keeps that same pace and same energy, this roam player might not really mean much. The gunshots will give their position away. Gold has a bit more of an inkling as to where this player is. Now, the rest of the side of the Sfam are going to focus on this breach, on the piano, and get it open, because that's the big key position. The whole role of Grenouille here is to make sure that they can't walk upstairs once that piano's been dealt with. Util still on the wall is going to be difficult to deal with, but it is going to open things up. The C4 goes, but doesn't land. And as a result, time ticks down. A minute and a half on the clock. The breach is still there.
Slower play in the mid round here off an explosive entry out of Sfam. Grenouille, having an absolute heater of a game, manages to pick up the entry for himself, but eventually Kesko will trade back onto ESA. Down below here, not being afraid to take fights, understanding that you need to engage with the attack if you want to be winning this round, if you're down numbers. Grenouille still down in the basement. Gold seemingly aware of the fact that him and Grenouille are having a little bit of a dance downstairs in the basement, but the attack is going on upstairs. But with the man disadvantage, and really a two-man disadvantage, since Grenouille is down in the basement, this push is going to be difficult for Sfam.
Yeah, now Kia will be able to find AO. They were watching that angle, but now the turns have tabled, and it's going to be the attack they're able to use that to get a kill. But like you say, with time ticking down with Grenouille down below, while Gold has been able to run away, this means that Grenouille has been able to back things up. Roos able to find that Ash, takes him off the board. It's down to Keo and Romza. Kesko will get taken down, and now a 2 versus 2, but with Gold not on site, it's down to the 2 attackers to go up against Roos. They're going for the pinch, they're able to find it. Romza gets the kill, and now Gold going up solo will be looking to stop this plant from going down. But look at that reinforcement over towards the master rotate. It means that plant's going to have to be covered, and that means that Romza is going to be able to hold that with Keo. The SMG-12 comes out, the flashbang goes in, the swing goes, but doesn't find a kill. Romza gets it, and that's going to be the attackers taking that second round on the attack on the trot. They didn't need Grenouille at the end of that round, but they surely could have done with him. Regardless, Sfam are one round closer away to series point.
Great job by Sfam finding themselves the opener and things being traded back in the mid round, but they don't panic. They understand there's roamers, there's still people off site, so it's not as bad as it looks. Gold kind of baiting his team down in the basement while the execute is going on site. No, sorry, apologies. Sfam recognizing the fact that they can just hit, they can ignore that roamer. No need to deal with him. Let's go fight the people upstairs, the people who are actually standing in the way of us attempting this plan. And they deal with them. They win the fights. They push in off the back of those picks, and they're able to just stick plant in a perfectly safe position, and there's nothing Gold can do to stop it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just well played. They realize that with Gold being on the roam still downstairs below, well, yeah, they do have the opportunity to come up late round. If you come up too late, it's a detriment, which exactly was the case in that last round there. Now we're going to see Sfam taking the lead on this one. Now, the coordination and the kind of confidence that we're seeing from Sfam that we saw on Nighthaven is definitely coming back a lot more. Maybe not to the same degree, but they've definitely got that spring in the step that we didn't really see when we were on at the start of Nighthaven, So I'm glad to see that they've kind of returned to this form here. They just need to keep it up, and I feel like they can take this, but no offense, they haven't been sleeping. This has been arguably the closer of the two maps that we've seen there, in my opinion.
It's been really back and forth, I think, is the biggest difference. The other maps that we witnessed, they were close at the end of the game, 7-5s on all fronts, but they weren't necessarily back and forth the same way that we're seeing on the Chalet map. It's been a really close affair the whole way through. Neither team really able to get any momentum going, and that's just continued all the way into these final couple of rounds. Looking at round 10 here, we do see Sfam getting a relatively quick entry in towards Library and using their utility to start to remove the defensive utility that's holding down this upstairs position to be able to deny the vertical play.
Yeah, it's such an important position. And again, we can see that that player from the side of No Offense was playing down below. They're still going to try and keep wasting that time, wasting that utility, and that's going to be Gold. The question is, are Sfam really going to play into it? They realized that last time that player didn't really have much impact, whether it was by the pressure of Grenouille or not. Now they are going to have to look again this breach open as soon as they can. And being the kitchen dining site, they need to get that top floor control as soon as really. A little bit of
what Rob's doing there. Rob's shooting to bait for his teammate, making noise to cover Grenouille, crawling up to the forward position to be able to hold the vertical or the feet holes into sight. Grenouille now on that angle, holding deep through sight. He's likely to catch someone off guard. If they're rotating it, he will. Alio taken out by Granui, prone outside of 45, finding the opener for his team. An excellent little bit of team play out of the two French players there. That was lovely to witness.
Yeah, exactly. Now what this has done, this has just opened up that dining side. They can get in, they can get that breach open, and they can start looking towards it to execute. A minute left on the board, and only 3 kills between Sfam and Match Point. You will see that Bruce has gone down, and as a result is not in that, because until they get revived with no drop on the board, they're out of the fight. That's out of the count. Now, like you see Kodaft and Gold both having to rotate around. With it being the kitchen dining site, it's not as bad because they have that opportunity to get on site a lot quicker, but they still are not there for the time being. Bruce pushes forward, gets the information, but will trade their life for it. They know that that gridlock's still there, and as a result, the defenders have a little bit more freedom. They know at least one player's not there. Sereno will be taken away by Casco, but Romza has an answer very quickly. The flashbang goes through for the execute, lands on the rotate just beautifully enough to hit Gold, and as a result, that means it will go through. Grenemy and Isaiah will each find a kill, and beautiful plays coming out, beautiful coordination, and look at that crossfire to cover that plan. You just could not go wrong.
Sfam are looking excellent. Team play galore. They're ready to engage with No Offense on their terms. No Offense left reeling at multiple points throughout that round. They've got downed players crawling at their opponents, for goodness sake. What's going on, boys?
I think that was just to get the information, just to say, all right, there's a player up here, they're still here, but at that point, you know they're there. It's not something you need to do, and I appreciate you probably weren't going to get revived at that point, because if Sfam wanted to take that third, they would have done. They would have had control of it.
Located by attackers.
They kitchen dining again for Sfam to attack. They did so well on that first attack. Are they going to be able to do that again? Well, as long as they have that coordination, that team play, and that presence of mind to work together in the way that they did. Like, I know you were so happy to see that Rumza and Grenouille coordination there. If they can get something like that again, then that would be amazing. And I don't think No Offense realized what happened. So there is a chance for F1 to maybe get away with that again. Because if they do that, then if they don't understand what's happened, they can't counter it. So Grenouille might be able to just get another free pick again. I don't want to see these Romans downstairs because we've seen them down there twice in a row now for No Offense. They haven't had that much impact. Yeah, they've distracted the player once. It led to a round loss. They can't have that player down below. They need to be making sure they have players for this late execute.
Swapping max.
Yeah, I mean, surely that doesn't happen again. Grenouille's position, like it I can tell you for sure, Alio is aware of what happened, and he will not be walking in front of those feet holes the same way he did. He's going to be checking them going forward throughout this game. He took a bolt and skull. But just got to put it out there. The impact that we're seeing out of Grenouille inside of this match so far has been ridiculous. 14 kills to his name, aggressively taking space time and time again. Look at him. We're 30 seconds into the round, and he's already approaching Piano. This is some unbelievable play, and he will take a bit of damage and give up some space, knowing he doesn't need to continue to contest. Job is done. He's taken the space. He's been the entry, and now the rest of his team comes to follow up, to burn the utility, to open up the walls, and really just start to strangle out this defense.
Yeah, and again, we're seeing the Twitch and Flores combination getting all that utility off the board. Flores dealing with the shields, Twitch dealing with the gold canisters, and anything else that might not be able to get dealt with Flores. Terror drone. The Frostbats will be taken away. That means another big problem that the attackers might have to deal with. And now we can again see Grenouille push towards that kitchen dining side. Pre-fire, if there wasn't a wall reinforcement, they could have got a beautiful kill. Not going to find the cross, but they don't need to. They know that player's push back. They can give that information to their team, and now they can start to apply it. Grenouille will get the utility off the wall for the top floor, so it gets opened up, and you will see the contest coming out from Yusei, but it doesn't find that pick. Zai gets a kill of their own. Tuber out, will go out. It only wastes time. It doesn't even stop the top breach from going off, and the C4 goes out. Now, having Zai above will be able to shut this down and stops those defenders from playing that verticality. That might be the end of the round right there.
A little bit of damage on the ESA, but he does survive, especially after finding that opener. And look at this, all the breaches are open. Everything Sfam needs to go for this execute is already taken care of. There are a couple of Goyo canisters on side, and they'll start to be popped right about now. But with 45 seconds on the board, there's time for them to burn out and then for them to go for plant afterwards. They do not need to rush things, but they decide to engage anyways. Zorino and Kyo each getting one apiece. At Kodaf, he's left being the only player really in any position to stop this plant from getting inside of sight, but he's blinded out. He cannot peek up. and the diffuser is being stuck in the corner of the position. No, Granui getting the kill, and ESA finding the last one onto gold. It will be Sfam who will be heading into that upper bracket match later on this week. Excellent play out of them, and my goodness, what a series we've just been privy to.
Incredible to watch. Both teams actually played really, really well. There wasn't a clear dominating figure in each game in terms of teams. So really happy to see that both teams could really put up. But it just comes down to the end of that. It was just down to Sfam being able to win these gunfights, to be able to take that dominating control over towards that Dunning side. When they got that top floor control, they stopped the verticality. They just opened the breach, pushed onto site, the long angles were forced, and the game was won. It was that simple for them because they did the basics, they did them right, and they also watched that flank as well, just in case that Roma came through. Very well played for them. No offense, they did really well, but it just wasn't enough. There's a lot to learn from as they go into the future, but they are not out for now. As you see, Sfam will join Ghost Army and Steam Sync as they go up to that 2-0 bracket, and we will see no offense drop down with Molotov Gang. And I believe I'm just going to double check the name because I'd rather check that and get it right this time. That is the Nexus 77 team. So they're going to go into the 1-1 bracket. They're not out. They still have to lose another game if they hit two more games, sorry, if they are going to get knocked out. So they still have a lot of chance to go back up and cause a lot of pressure for Sfam. But Sfam, they have that golden opportunity. If they win this next game that they have to play, they will qualify.
You talked about the fact that that came down to Sfam just winning fights. I want to counter that. That came down to Granui winning fights. My goodness, what a performance out of him inside of that last map. 15-5 or 15-4 at the end of it. Ridiculous. Either way, those sorts of numbers are not things you see inside of Siege. Impacted every single round, time and time again. Not afraid to take fights, not afraid to engage, pushing forward, aggressive and assertive, and winning rounds for his team over and over again. It was lovely to see, and I've got to say, I'm just really impressed by the player. I am looking forward to seeing him in later weeks.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And you will have the opportunity to do so because, like you say, they've still got a ton of games to play. If they win the next one, then they will qualify for the playoffs. But if they don't, then they have to go through that bracket run like we're going to see, no offense, have to do. Realistically, I'm really excited to see what happens with these two teams moving forward because, no offense, definitely haven't seen the last of them. I don't see them losing the next two games to get knocked out if they played that well. But for the time being, that is us done for today's game. We do have another game coming up tomorrow. That is going to be LDL going up against Valor. That is going to be figuring out the rest of this group that we see these teams in at the moment. So what I'll do is if you take a look at that, remember that, be here tomorrow at that exact time. And if we jump back to the bracket very quickly, we'll tell you this. This is the last game out of the 1-0 bracket. So these games are all of the teams that you're going to expect to see in those playoffs. You're going to expect to see them really stepping up and really showing what they're made of. Whereas when we start going on to the next couple of groups, that is going to be the teams that weren't able to win out that first round of Swift and see whether they go to that danger zone of possibly being knocked out in the game after this one, or if they're able to stay in it and will possibly go up against the likes of No Offense, MVG, and Nexus 77. Hi, Bear. That is going to be it from us ourselves. Nighthaven, Lair, and Chalet. And if you could sum it up, how would you?
Oh my goodness, you throw me on the spot
there, yeah, a little bit.
Immaculate. I loved everything I saw today. There was some really good play out of both the teams, but congrats to Sfam, commiserations to No Offense, and yeah, looking forward to seeing both these teams in later weeks. Thank you guys all so much for tuning in today. It was excellent getting to be the voice that guided you through the games, and I can't wait to see more going forward.
Exactly. So we will be back tomorrow. Make sure you're around then. And if you're not already doing so, get up to date with the socials because all the information is there, including when we go live, who plays, and most importantly, what map and what the scores are. So if you aren't able to watch the Twitch stream, you can at least keep up to date on Twitter or X or whatever it is now. We are going to say goodnight for now, and we'll see you soon.